you'll feed him for a lifetime. Are you ready to learn how to fish? Join proven entrepreneur, best-selling author, and host of Mental Self-Defense Radio, Jake Shannon, at the upcoming weekend Bootstrap Entrepreneurship Training right here in Salt Lake City. This Bootstrap Entrepreneurship Bootcamp is strictly limited to only 15 participants and is offered on a first-come, first-served basis. Learn more now at www.entrepreneurship.jakeshannon.com. That's entrepreneurship.jakeshannon.com. entrepreneurship.jakeshannon.com.
Forget everything else for a moment and pay very close attention to the words you're about to hear. Something is wrong with your reality. Big government, big business, the mainstream media, and orthodox science all tell you what to believe. Yet the holes in their stories only get bigger every day. Welcome to your wake-up call. Welcome to your red pill. Welcome to Mental Self-Defense Radio and the Jake Shannon Radio program. Now, here's your host, Jake Shannon.
Thank you for tuning in. Welcome to Mental Self-Defense Radio. I am your host, Jake Shannon. This is where Utah gets its daily dose of liberty and logic. Think of us as the Second Amendment for your mind. This is the show that fights to close that gap between rhetoric and reality. Now, follow my instructions closely. Write down our call-in number. You are going to need it. 801-254-5855. As Thomas Jefferson before me, I have sworn an eternal hostility against every form of tyranny over the minds of men. So, while I may not agree with what you say, when you call in, I will always fight for your right to say it. It is Wednesday, August the 8th, 2012. This is another one of those shows where I am giddy with excitement. I am having a longtime hero of mine on the program calling in here probably in the next, 5-10 minutes. I would highly suggest you probably haven't heard of them. What I would suggest is that you call your friends, the people you want to convince, about why you do what you do, whether it's activism or just slacktivism, making phone calls, posting on Facebook, whatever it is that you're passionate about. Please, not only do you want to listen, you may want to perhaps, after the show, download the MP3. I don't know. I would suggest you call your friends right now. Hey, go over to k-talk.com, click on the Listen Live link. Tell them. This is an important moment. We're going to have a guy on the show that I've been trying to get on for a very long time. Gene Sharp, Dr. Gene Sharp. He's affiliated with the Albert Einstein Institution. He is a professor emeritus of political science over at the University of Massachusetts, Dartmouth. He is the guy with regards to writing about nonviolent, civil, peaceful resistance to tyranny. Brilliant guy. He's been nominated twice for the Nobel Peace Prize. I guess they're too busy giving it to Obama and his bombing of babies in Pakistan with his drones. Gene Sharp, very important man, going to be on the show today. I am absolutely so thrilled. This is going to be really, really a fun show. This is one, man, go buy his books. He has a new book out, Sharp's Dictionary of Power and Struggle, Language of Civil Resistance in Conflicts. Language! The heck did I talk about all day yesterday? The power of language. It's what I talk about almost every day, and whether that language is in mathematics, Spanish, English, whatever. Words are powerful. Your word is powerful. He's got really incredible stuff, guys. I mean, really, this guy is amazing. Gene Sharp coming up, calling in very, very soon. I'm really, really excited for this. This ranks up there for me with having Dr. Thomas Szasz. Dr. Szasz, the brilliant man who wrote The Myth of Mental Illness in the 50s, still at the center of the debate as we, as psychiatry, the APA, tries to put out their new Bible, the DSM-5. These are the people that I put on my show. These people are legends, but legends in a resistance. Legends in a resistance against the establishment. I don't mean this like some 60s burnout. I mean resistance against the establishment that is like Huxley's Brave New World, seducing you into obedience with free porno on the internet, with all the drugs you could want, as long as they feed the establishment's money system through Big Pharma. The establishment's seduction of you to abscond your responsibility, when responsibility and freedom are two sides of the same coin. I'm getting more and more convinced of my coinage of the word responsibilitarian. I am almost going to exclusively start calling myself that because, one, yes, people will be confused. It means the same thing as libertarian, but I think it's a little closer to what it actually requires from you to call yourself one, to take responsibility for yourself. What a crazy, shocking concept. When you know the idea of taking responsibility for yourself, for being a free person, that free as long as what you do is peaceful, when that becomes a threat, that only threatens tyranny. That's it. Responsibilitarianism. I like it. I like it so much, I bought the URL, responsibilitarian.com. I don't know what the heck I'm going to do with that, but I don't know. Maybe it'll be my next book after Endonomics. I have grand dreams and hopes. They never are guaranteed. But a lot of times they happen. Like, I've always wanted to have a conversation with Gene Sharp. I've always wanted to have a conversation with Thomas Szasz. And here we are. And guess what? You are a fly on the wall. Not just a fly on the wall. You have our phone number. 801-254-5855. You, too, can say that you spoke with this guy. I mean, Google him. I went over to my my Facebook page, and I put up an article from the Wall Street Journal, September 13th, 2008, American Revolutionary. He also is from Boston, so kind of some Tea Party-esque sounding stuff here. American Revolutionary. A quiet Boston scholar inspires rebels around the world. By Philip Shishkin. The article starts in February. The Iranian government showed a fictionalized video on the dangers of foreign plots against the state. One of its stars, a mysterious American named Gene Sharp. So if you're one of those chicken hawk, or maybe you're a warmonger looking to pick a fight with Iran, a country that's never started a war. Meanwhile, we've started dozens and dozens of them. if you're on that side, this show should probably make your head explode. If, on the other hand, you are, like me, a responsibilitarian, a peace-loving, responsible individual, you're going to love this show. The article continues. Anyway, sorry. In June of 2007, Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez publicly accused Mr. Sharp of stirring unrest in Venezuela. Last year in Vietnam, authorities arrested several opposition activists who were distributing a book written by Mr. Sharp. In 2005, fires destroyed 2 Moscow bookstores selling Russian translations of the same book. The target of all this intrigue and animosity is 80 years old and slightly stooped. He walks with a cane, working from a modest house in East Boston. Mr. Sharp is nearly unknown to the U.S. public, but he is despised by authoritarian regimes and respected by opposition activists around the globe. Mr. Sharp has had broad influence on international events over the past 2 decades, helping to advance a global democratic awakening. An aging academic, Mr. Sharp says he has no links with the government or any intelligence agency. Excuse me. He responded to Mr. Chavez's speech with an open letter suggesting that if the president is concerned about being overthrown, he should read The Anti-Coup, a booklet Mr. Sharp co-authored. Spread via the internet, word of mouth, and seminars, Mr. Sharp's writings on nonviolent resistance have been studied by opposition activists in Zimbabwe, Burma, Russia, Venezuela, and Iran, among others. His 1993 guide to unseating despots from dictatorship to democracy has been translated into at least 28 languages and was used by movements that toppled governments in Serbia, Ukraine, Georgia, and Kyrgyzstan. I don't know how to say that. Several years ago, a funding cut drastically curtailed the operations of Mr. Sharp's Albert Einstein Institution, which is devoted to research and promotion of peaceful resistance to dictatorships. He dismissed most of his staff, closed his office in a Boston business district, and retreated to his personal digs. Since then, Mr. Sharp has worked from a brick townhouse near Logan Airport. Shy, never married, and childless, Mr. Sharp spends most of his days in the company of a young assistant and a massive black dog named Caesar. To unwind, he tends orchids in a greenhouse on the top floor. Quote, "You see how rich we are," says Mr. Sharp, dressed in wrinkled black pants as he motions at his cluttered office. Books are everywhere, even on shelves in the bathroom. A bulletin board boasts stickers for a student movement that brought down Serbian strongman Milosevic and for a Tibetan group. Mr. Sharp never expected his work would find adherents in so many countries. Quote, "I'm still a little stunned by that," he says. Although nonviolent struggle has played a major role throughout history, Mr. Sharp was amongst the first modern scholars to take a comprehensive look at all the various movements, from the civil rights struggle in the U.S. to uprisings in Eastern Europe. I am very excited. This is such a huge pleasure for me to turn you onto him. I tried to do that in my 2010 book. I mention in my list of recommended readings in T.O. Kond, talking about how a nonviolent activist group, the Tea Party, how it was co-opted. A thesis that I put forth in that book, a book that I first presented some of the ideas of Gene Sharp, a thesis that has been confirmed. I read a article, I think it was in Discovery, where social scientists were able to figure out that, in fact, the Tea Party is no longer libertarian, it is authoritarian. It is no longer responsibilitarian. So, now, I am absolutely thrilled. Please go Google him, check him out. We're bumping up on our commercial break here. But as soon as we are done with these wonderful sponsors that are helping me to bring this to you directly, intimately, into your eardrums, over the airwaves, the miracle of technology. So please, sit tight, stay tuned, We'll be right back, and we'll have Dr. Gene Sharp in here on the phone. That phone number, I'm not going to take calls right away, but I will eventually, 801-254-5855. And we'll bring him right in, right after this commercial break. Very excited, guys. Call your friends. All right, come on back. Mental Self-Defense Radio. Mental Self-Defense Radio here on K-Talk, AM 630. The voice of Utah. Come on back, guys.
Are you or someone you care about suffering from substance abuse, addictive behaviors, anxiety, or depression? If you have found that conventional therapies don't work, listen close. There is a way to regain joy in life. Theta Wellness Center's advanced technology produces lasting results. Unlike conventional therapies that only offer counseling and abstinence, Theta Wellness Centers utilize the technologically advanced and effective Theta Chamber, which quite literally reprograms and re-educates the brain. The Theta Chamber returns brain chemistry to balance with newly formed neural pathways. Counseling therapy is good. Reprogramming the brain is better. Combining both is the path to a new life. There is no risk in learning more. Check us out at ThetaWellnessCenter.com or be one of the first of 25 callers to schedule a no-obligation consultation and receive the first Theta Chamber treatment absolutely free. Call 888-429-0082. That's 888-429-0082. Rediscover the joy in your life. Theta Wellness Center. Call today. 888-429-0082.
I'm Angie Larson. If you or someone you know suffers from shingles, then listen closely. The Vipro 3000 is the advanced new way to safely and painlessly stop shingles early. The Vipro 3000 also shortens the healing time for existing outbreaks. Order the Vipro 3000 now and fight back. Call 1-800-680-PAIN or visit Vipro3000.com. That's Vipro3000.com or 1-800-680-PAIN.
Wake up without yuck in your lungs or the dark cloud of lung cancer or heart disease looming over your future. Have the energy and health you deserve by simply calling Salt Lake City Family Hypnosis at 801-738-5390. Forget what you've seen from TV and the movies. Hypnosis is powerful and natural and has been accepted by the American Medical Association since the 1950s. Our methods have proven time and again to be more effective than pills, patches, gum, and willpower for quitting smoking. If you've tried the rest, now call the best. Salt Lake City Family Hypnosis, 801-738-5390. That's Salt Lake City Family Hypnosis, 801-738-5390. Be sure to ask about our proven weight loss and natural breast enlargement programs. Visit us online at slchypnosis.com.
The voice of Utah. AM 630 K-Talk.
K-Talk.com.
Number one for the most live, local, two-way talk.
Everybody's on the phone.
All right, guys, welcome back. Mental Self-Defense Radio. I can't tell you how excited I am to be speaking to this man. He's a real man. This is a guy who has stood up, is so brave, and used, he is in the tradition of a Gandhi, of a Henry David Thoreau, who inspired Gandhi. All the people that this man has inspired, it's literally worldwide. So I am thrilled, honored, just tickled pink to be speaking with a man I respect very much, Dr. Gene Sharp. Are you there, sir?
I'm here. Thank you.
Hey, thank you so much. I am absolutely thrilled that you've done and been able to do what you've done. And it's so amazing, your work. And I'm thrilled to be turning on the people of at least this state, Utah, and we get some others like Idaho and whatnot in our signal. I'm curious, are you shocked by the sheer magnitude of your influence worldwide? We see all these things, these protests erupting and whatnot. And back in 1968, when you're starting to catalog all this, had you any idea the scope or the magnitude you'd have, the influence with regards to nonviolent resistance of tyranny and of oppression?
Well, I wouldn't put it that way. I tend to minimize my personal role. I hear that something I've written has an influence here and there. Often we don't have proof. And in any case, it's not me that's important. It's the ideas and what people do and what you learn what other people have done. And that is quite a revelation to people that they need not be helpless and powerless, that they can actually influence the course of events.
Well, I have to say this. You are very self-effacing and very humble, and I sincerely appreciate that. But I also appreciate, in my mind, had you been hit by a bus anywhere along the way, I'm pretty sure these people wouldn't have these ideas. Now, it is the ideas, but you're the conduit. And frankly, I don't know anybody who had cataloged all the various methods like in your 3-volume work. So, again, I appreciate your humility, but I agree with you on so much, but I will disagree that I think that you are the...
You have a right to disagree.
So, what, in your mind, I because I do this political talk radio show, I have so many people call in, concerned people about how the world is going, and they feel so hopeless. But that's not the case. People actually have a tremendous amount of power, especially to push back, even in the face of, we don't have tremendous violent opposition from our own government. We have some in the state, the United States. But even in regimes where it's complete dictatorship, the people have tremendous power. What kind of words of wisdom do you have for those people who are kind of, are throwing their hands up in the air and ready to give up?
Well, the first thing to remember, even in those extreme situations, is that the dictators are not as strong as they tell you they are. And the people are never as weak as they think they are.
So the language, what the dictator is saying, the language is important for people to understand that there might be a gap between the rhetoric and the actual reality there.
Because dictatorships always have weaknesses. They have problems. They have internal conflicts. They have things that they want to do or have tried to do that they couldn't do. This happened even in the Nazi system. Sometimes Hitler would issue an order. It was never carried out because somebody on the chain of command didn't do it, And if that can happen even in a Nazi system, and if the communist systems of Eastern and Central Europe have fallen apart, that was a regime that we thought we might have a nuclear war to protect ourselves, or not that nuclear war protects anything, anyone. But those regimes are gone. And in the case of the Soviet Union and the Eastern European communist regimes, they went away without war. And we were having NATO prepared for years as to how to deal with those regimes, and the people did it themselves. Now, you can't just do this on a dream, and you can't sort of improvise and think you know what you're doing when you don't. But you have to learn and study and plan very carefully, so you have a chance of having an effective impact.
Now, let me ask you this, sir. I know that you're in your 80s now. Is that right?
That's right, 84.
So you 84. So you've seen a thing or two, especially because you've had so much of a focus on this sort of thing. And I'm curious, just your intuition, or if you were to guess, or I don't know if you're a betting man. I'm not actually asking for a bet, but just what you know. There's another guy that's very active in the peace movement. His name's Johann Galtung, and he says something that I like a lot, that the end of the American empire will be great for the American republic. That is, rights, civil rights, and that kind of thing. But I'm curious, from your perspective, sitting there maybe in Boston, but plugged in and seeing and acutely aware of these things, what would you guess? What is the trajectory of the United States? Are we heading for a massive change here sometime soon, maybe because of the debt or maybe because of war? Well, just an intuition. What would you guess?
I don't guess. I don't know. And it would only be my imagination, and I don't pay much credit for my imagination. I try to study what has been done and what is possible and project how new policies can make things better. but I don't get. I'm not a political fortune teller.
Well, let me ask it this way then. You know, all of a sudden, clearly the 60s, we saw tremendous turmoil, lots of protest and resistance, and, you know, that level in the popular consciousness comes and goes. And most recently, we've seen, obviously, the Tea Party. We've seen Occupy. To me, at least in my limited perspective, I'm only 40, so I'm not even half your age. But in my limited perspective, it seems that, you know, we're in a rather turbulent time. Pardon my slip there. We're in a turbulent time right now. And it seems that it can go, you know, there's a number of scenarios. For those people who want to get involved, I know that you've written a book, Sharp's Dictionary of Power and Struggle, Language of Civil Resistance and Conflicts. Obviously, that's available, at, like, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, that kind of thing. But what else would you recommend for people who want to actually get involved, stop watching TV, actually get involved in changing the world?
Well, first thing you should do is find out what's worth reading and study. Because there's an awful lot about people power, what people can do, what people have already done, what they could do in the future. But you don't get that by your imagination or your feelings. You have to learn what is real, what has really happened. So they could contact the Albert Einstein Institution. It's aeinstein.org.
aeinstein.org, okay.
aeinstein.org. And we have some of the literature we publish ourselves here, as well as things that have been published by commercial publishers, like the Oxford University Press Dictionary that you just mentioned. The one piece that has been most popular is people who are really facing serious dictatorships is called
Is this from Dictatorship to Democracy?
That's from Dictatorship to Democracy, which was originally written for Burma.
Yeah.
And then it's spread. Now it's on our website in 24 languages, and actual reality is it's actually in translation in 34 languages.
Wow.
In diverse parts of the world. And not because we promoted, because we didn't have any money to promote anything, you know. We just had money to get it printed. And now it's spreading around. We're even getting publishers coming to us, please let us print it, you know.
Yeah, not because of some sort of artificial demand created by promotion, but because of real demand. People really need this information, and as such, they've been passing it and sharing it around.
People are hungry for some information. Is there a way to deal with this problem apart from violence, apart from shooting people in a temple, apart from nuclear weapons, and all that kind of thing? Is there an alternative? And so they're very eager when they hear that this is there, and it really has an impact, and people are interested in it, and that's very important.
So probably a first jumping off point then would be the Albert Einstein Institution, which is, again, A, like the letter A, and then the word Einstein, like his name, aeinstein.org. Why Albert Einstein, sir? I mean, why not the Gandhi Institute? You know, I mean, I'm just curious, where's the genesis of the Albert Einstein Institution?
Well, I'm going to be publishing something whenever I can get enough staff to help me finish it on the development of Einstein's thinking about peace and war. Because way back in the 1920s and early 1930s, he was a war resistor. He not only wanted to be a concentrator, but he wanted to oppose wars. Then came the Nazi system, and he was Jewish, and understandably was very worried about what they might want to do. So he said, well, I don't know any peaceful way of dealing with the Nazis, so I support the Second World War. And in that process, then came the development of nuclear weapons. And he agreed to write a letter to Roosevelt to warn him that you could take atoms and make terrible explosions. And then that was not something he liked when he saw what was really happening. So he thought, well, maybe a world government's going to save us. And that was important to say. But he turned to Gandhi. He said there's no man, no political thinker in our time who merits more serious consideration than Gandhi for his nonviolent struggles to free the Indian people from British imperialism. And then that's where he finished off his life. And in that context, he wrote a foreword for my first book on Gandhi, which was published in 1960.
Wow. And so that makes complete sense, the kind of evolution and why you would go that route, certainly, and so powerful. The history of nonviolent conflict, for those of us here, we always kind of the low-hanging fruit for those of us who are, maybe active in it but not academic. It kind of goes back to Henry David Thoreau, but there's a long tradition even prior to Thoreau, right?
I think there's a human tradition way back when the first human beings were around, and I'm not sure it's with human beings. My dogs have always been very good at disobedience and pretending they're obeying, and not doing what you tell them to do if you're not looking. If our dogs can do it, human beings can do it, and that's nothing new. That's happened for many, many, many centuries.
Yeah, and it's not only natural but almost a duty, because that natural impulse gets kind of domesticated out of us, I guess. So that we have to understand that right to anything that's peaceful, to just be left alone, to not be tortured, to not be told what to do. Very interesting. And again, I really, my background, I'm a libertarian and I'm a hypnotist, so I'm very sensitive to language, and I'm really thrilled about Sharp's Dictionary of Power and Struggle, Language of Civil Resistance and Conflicts, because I think it is such, for those of us who do not want to take up arms, who are, pacifists or peaceful by nature, language and discussion and conversation is really the path. I really, again, appreciate all of your work and the work that you've done, and thrilled that you're as open and willing to share like you are right now. So you said that you're working on a new potential project here, you said, when I asked you about the Albert Einstein and the connection to the Albert Einstein.
There's a very good book on Einstein speaking called Einstein on Peace. It's in libraries, I'm sure. It is by Otto Nathan and Heinz Ostein. And it's available, but from that account, from his thinking at very early years on through, I culled out the major point to how he changed his thinking and how he ended up, not with the dogmatism of not believing in a principle of a religious principle of peace and so forth, but what would actually work is cautious exploration of the powerful message of Gandhi's former struggle. That's what I'm working on, and that's the attitude we have with the Albert Einstein Institution.
And as I'm at the website, aeinstein.org, I'm looking here that you guys just finished this other work, Self-Liberation. I find that fascinating. I haven't read that yet. What is that all about, self-liberation?
Well, we've had people coming to us for years, and from all kinds of countries where they have big problems and dictatorships and the like. And they come to us and they say, well, what should we do? And I shock them and I say, I'm not going to tell you because I don't really know your situation in depth. But you can develop your own strategy, but you can't today. You have to know 3 things, and if you don't know now, you have to learn them before you can plan your own strategy. Because the thing is not telling people what to do, it's enabling people in a very self-reliant way to plan what they should do. So you need to know your situation in depth, what is really going on, not just all the terrible things that are happening, but all the things that make that kind of dictatorship or oppression, or economic oppression, possible.
I see. So when it says here that it's a planning guide, I mean, it really means that. That's for you, almost like a workbook to work through on your own.
Yes.
Brilliant.
And the second thing you need to know is non-violent struggle. And if people think they know non-violent struggle, they're fooling themselves because they don't. It's a very complex and difficult technique, much more complex than this military means.
Now, hold on one moment, sir. You know, we're bumping against our break here. If it's okay with you, is it okay if we continue this for a few minutes on the other side of this commercial?
Sure.
Okay, because I'd like to go a little deeper into that and allow you to at least expand and share that idea.
All right.
Okay, brilliant. Guys, we've got Gene Sharp on the line. Dr. Gene Sharp, incredible author, helping people wake up and resist tyranny right here, Mental Self-Defense Radio, AM 630, K-Talk, the voice of Utah. Come on back on the other side, guys.
Gung Ho gives you brain energy, not just caffeine buzz.
Energy reserves play a critical role in healthy brain function. A vital benefit of Gung Ho is its ability to keep the brain's energy-producing centers healthy and alert. Gung Ho provides your brain with the safe, natural energy it needs to stay sharp. Find Gung Ho at k-talk.com.
Need like focus. You're over 40, having trouble reading street signs, driving is getting scary, and reading isn't fun anymore. Sound familiar? Well, that's the curse of cataracts. I know, I went through it. Then I went to the Eye Institute of Utah, and in a matter of minutes, the problem was solved. No pain, no discomfort, and by that evening, I had the vision I'd enjoyed as a teenager. Years ago, cataract surgery was a huge deal. Now, thanks to modern LensX laser technology, the whole procedure's over in a matter of minutes with no pain or discomfort, and Medicare pays most of the cost. Don't trust your vision to just anyone. You want the very best, and for me, that was Dr. Sione and the other highly trained specialists at the Eye Institute of Utah. They've done thousands of successful procedures, and they're so advanced that other doctors come from all over the world to study under their guidance. Call now for a free evaluation. 801-803-6968. That's 801-803-6968. Call 801-803-6968 now for a free evaluation.
Politicians may try to convince you that they can create jobs, but the cold fact is that politicians don't create jobs. Entrepreneurs do. Are you barely surviving in this economy but want to learn how to thrive in this economy? Are you tired of the rat race and burn with the desire to be your own boss? We've all heard the parable that if you give a man a fish, you'll feed him for a day. But if you teach that man to fish, you'll feed him for a lifetime. Are you ready to learn how to fish? Join proven entrepreneur, best-selling author, and host of Mental Self-Defense Radio, Jake Shannon, at the upcoming weekend Bootstrap Entrepreneurship Training right here in Salt Lake City. This Bootstrap Entrepreneurship Bootcamp is strictly limited to only 15 participants and is offered on a first-come, first-served basis. Learn more now at www.entrepreneurship.jakeshannon.com. That's entrepreneurship.jakeshannon.com. entrepreneurship.jakeshannon.com.
The voice of Utah. AM 630 K-Talk.
K-Talk.com.
Number one for the most live, local, two-way talk.
Operator, well, could you help me place this call? See, the number on the matchbook is old and faded.
All right, guys, welcome back. I am Jake Shannon, joined today Dr. Gene Sharp. Thrilled. This man has compiled incredible works helping liberate people worldwide. Dr. Sharp, are you still there?
I think so.
Okay, good. You've got quite the sense of humor, sir. I like it. Very dry, and you have to be sharp when you're with Dr. Sharp. Curious, is there any difference for you between, say, peaceful struggle and peaceful conflict? I know it's maybe just as simple as an analogy or a word difference, a metaphor or something you'd look up in a thesaurus, a synonym. But is there a difference between, for you, peaceful conflict and peaceful struggle?
Those terms I would use is almost identical.
Yeah, interchangeable. Okay. I had a caller call in and ask that question, and I felt the same way, but I wanted to honor their question anyway.
What I don't use is the term nonviolence. This is by itself, because that doesn't say much of anything. It's very sloppy, you know. And I don't just say be peaceful or conflict resolution, because this is a form of struggle. It's Gandhi and others said this is really another form of war. It's that strong, and it can be that powerful. But you have to learn how to use it. That's why if you're looking at self-liberation, after you'd studied your own situation politically, including the weaknesses of your opponents, which are very important, you have to learn about nonviolent struggle. And since people don't think, they think they know, but they don't, there's a lot of reading there. And it can also be downloaded from your computer under self-liberation, and all the 900 pages of required reading on nonviolent struggle there, you can download them for free.
Yeah, I love that. That people, if they go to aeinstein.org, a lot of this. Now, of course, you do, like you said, have books like with Oxford University Press, but you have so much material that's available for people just to download for free and read.
Yes, and they can do that. And then the third thing that they need before they can find their own strategy, they have to learn how to think strategically, not how to assert how good they are or how terrible their opponents are, but how can you actually change things, like military strategy in a war. You know, you're not just going out and shooting into the air. You have to know how to conduct military struggle. And this nonviolent struggle is more complex and takes more effort. You have to learn how to do that.
That this is not a game of checkers. This is more like a game of chess. You need to set up your board the right way.
More complicated than chess by far.
Wow. Brilliant stuff, guys. Again, Dr. Gene Sharp, please check him out. Please go to his website. Do you guys, are you like a 501c? I mean, are you a nonprofit? Do you take donations?
Yes, we're a 501c3.
Okay.
That's right. We survive only by voluntary contributions from individuals, and a few small foundations are helping us out now. But it's only by the help of people who think this is important. We have no government money, no big foundation money. So there were times we did not survive, but we did. So we're happy to be here and happy to be on your program.
I appreciate that, and I urge every single person that listens to this show, and even if I'm just happening to catch you because you're scanning, I don't care. Find out, write it down in your brain, whatever you need to do on a piece of paper, aeinstein.org. Go. Right there at the top is a little PayPal thing, or I'm not sure, but it looks like PayPal. Click it. Give them something to keep this important work going. He's giving away the work for free. He's changing the world, and you can be a part of that, guys. You can actually be a part of that. Help this institution, the Albert Einstein Institution. Again, aeinstein.org. Go there, click donate. Don't think about it, just do it. I'm sorry, I will be a peaceful tyrant with regards to that. Please support him. So again, Dr. Sharp, those people who maybe, because clearly you've surrounded yourself with people who take this kind of topic seriously, but you live in the world. You live in Boston. There's normal people who don't, who just go about the world and don't understand maybe the suffering, or, they can't quite empathize because they don't get it. Is there anything, always it seems like in political discussions, at some point, if you stay in the conversation long enough, it goes back to the Nazis. But so it seems like that's such low-hanging fruit, and maybe we're a bit desensitized to it. What are some of the more lesser-known conflicts in your mind that people aren't aware of? And maybe it's stuff that we've done here in our own government that people should be alerted to, that they wouldn't want their taxes to go to. I mean, like Thoreau, how he spent a night in jail because he did a tax protest because of war and whatnot. What are some of those other conflicts that maybe people should Google, should look up?
There are many things that are accounted and on the website of the struggles. In my book of Waging Nonviolent Struggle, there's a whole series of historical accounts of what actually happened, because this is not something that people do because they believe this and they believe that. It's because they have learned what people have done. For example, people don't know that the three little countries of Latvia, Estonia, and Lithuania, which were taken over, occupied by the Nazis, and they had guerrilla struggles against the Nazis. They were occupied by the Soviet Union. They had guerrilla struggles against the Soviet Union. And then they were incorporated into the Soviet Union. The Red Army was there. The KGB was there. And they organized themselves using this nonviolent struggle. And I and a colleague were there. These two visits in all three of those countries. And they extricated themselves from the Soviet Union in a matter of months, with very few casualties. None even, nobody killed in Estonia, 8 in Latvia, and I think 14 in Lithuania. And that was all. You know, this doesn't guarantee you always will be so lucky. There are many people in Syria who are conducting this kind of sorrow, and they were slaughtered on the streets. But now that there's a civil war, many, many, many more people will be killed. This is the kind of sorrow you have to learn what to do and use your brains, and then do it skillfully.
And a lot of this, you say, so is Waging Nonviolent Struggle, is that your newest release then?
No, that's 5 years ago.
Okay.
But it's available, and the information about that is on our website.
Okay. Wonderful. Well, I appreciate you spending so much time with us today. I will not keep you. I know that you're a busy man, and you've got important work. And but I'm thrilled to speak with you, and I'm thrilled to share your message. Guys, go over to aeinstein.org. It's all one word, the letter A and then the name Einstein.org. It's the Albert Einstein Institution. This is Dr. Gene Sharp's organization to help people understand and learn about and implement nonviolent action strategically, not just happenstance, but as Dr. Sharp says, it's even a more complicated game than chess, but a winnable game, just like chess is a winnable game. Dr. Sharp, thank you again so much for all your time. Any parting words, advice, anything like that?
Good wishes and steady hard.
I appreciate it, sir. Thank you again so much for all your time. Guys, check him out.
Thank you so much. Good wishes for you and your program.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Dr. Gene Sharp. Again, go to the website. Do it. Do it, do it, do it. Did you buy something lame today, like a cup of coffee? I'm not judging you. I'm just saying if you bought that lame thing, you could give that equivalent. Give more. I don't know. Do something. Go to aeinstein.org. Support this work. This is the kind of work. You're tuned into political talk radio. This is what Dr. Sharp is telling you how to do this strategically. Or, I mean, if you're done being a whiner and just moping and feeling like a victim, here is how you take charge. Support this kind of work. Go and follow Dr. Sharp's advice to study hard. Start over at aeinstein.com. He's got a ton of stuff that you can download and things of that nature. Wow. Brilliant, brilliant stuff. Very excited to have him. If you missed it, guys, I'm sorry. Please, after the show, yes, the show is now 3 hours, so you will have to wait another 2 hours. But after the show, go over to k-talk.com, go to show archives. You can download the MP3, put it on whatever, email it. Just do something, okay? You don't have to be an activist. You can be a slacktivist. At least you're doing something. Stop talking about entitlements and rights. Start talking about duties. Responsibilitarianism. Right, not rights, duties. You have a duty to free speech. You have a duty to self-defense, to privacy, to individual autonomy. A duty. This is, again, like looking at like rights and libertarianism, duty and responsibilitarianism. The language of resistance, of freedom, of responsibility. Do you get it? I've been doing this this is my second year. The message has been the same. Do you get it yet? Rhetoric is not bad. Rhetoric can be great as long as it's congruent with reality. Is yours? Or do you just sit there and whine about it? What are you doing? At the very least, go to aeinstein.org. And then as the page loads and you look around and download all the tons and tons of free materials, yes, you'll actually have to read. There's not a pill for that. Sorry. sorry, it's free instantly. You don't even have to wait. And then guess what? Then you have not just an opportunity, maybe a duty to donate. Maybe not for yourself, maybe because these words will inspire somebody who will help liberate your children or your grandchildren. Do you get it? You just think this stuff happens? This is why I appreciate Dr. Sharp's humility, but frankly, had he not done it, it probably wouldn't have happened exactly like this and with this success. It's kind of like Atlas Shrugged or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, I guess I'm not a big fan of Ayn Rand, but in terms of her philosophy, her novels are brilliant. Insofar as she's libertarian, I like her. But I do agree with her about this great man kind of approach to history. That you have to do these things. You can't... It's because people make choices and do them. That's why stuff happens. That's... At some point, Dr. Sharp dedicated himself. At some point, Albert Einstein dedicated himself. At some point, Gandhi, MLK, Thoreau. That's not hard to do. To be a good guy. A good guy. Like Dr. Gene Sharp. Go over there. Go to Einstein.org and download the heck out of that website. Tons of stuff. Free download from Dictatorship to Democracy by Gene Sharp. Self-Liberation by Gene Sharp. On Strategic Nonviolent Conflict by Robert Helvey. Download for free. There Are Realistic Alternatives. Download by Gene Sharp. His case studies. How this works in Eastern Europe, Latin America. More, he says, 198 methods of nonviolent action. There's not even a charge. Responsibilitarianism, libertarianism, peace, duties, not rights. Just a shift in the way you've been thinking. All right, that signals that our first hour is in the bag. Brilliant. Please, guys, go download the archive. This show is a keep. Come on back. Right after these breaks, patronize our sponsors. Mental Self-Defense, K-Talk, Boise, Utah.
Are you ready for some fun? It's time to get out and play. Grab your kids, grandkids, and the kid in you. Experience the fun of radio-controlled cars, trucks, boats, and helicopters. Visit www.primehobbies.com, your online hobby store. We only stock name brand products, Traxxas radio-controlled cars and trucks, HPI Racing, Align Helicopters, Team Associated, and Quest Aerospace. If you're tired of buying and buying and buying the discount store junk, stop by primehobbies.com and purchase a vehicle that will last for years with parts support to keep you up and running. Let Prime Hobbies be your #1 trusted online hobby superstore. For fun delivered right to your door, go to primehobbies.com. That's www.primehobbies.com. Let the fun begin. www.primehobbies.com.
Hey, this is Dan, the laptop man from PC Laptops. You've seen it all over the news. Malware and spyware infections are at an all-time high, and no brand of computer is immune. Many protection programs do not protect you from everything, so people and companies are losing billions of dollars of cherished memories and data. Thieves are stealing social security numbers and personal information. At PC Laptops, we've been removing these evil diseases for over 17 years. Is your hard drive clicking? Did your kids drop your laptop or spill something on it? Did a bad person sabotage your computer? Did you know at PC Laptops, we can recover data from most crashed hard drives? We can help. If your desktop or laptop is acting slow or strange or dead, just bring it into any PC Laptop store right now for a free scan and evaluation, no matter what brand it is. In fact, we're so good, if we can't fix it, we'll buy it from you. So get into any one of our locations right now or call us at 1-877-596-SAVE or check us out at PCLaptops.com. PC Laptops, we really love you.
You're listening to Utah's first #1 talk station. K-Talk, AM 630, KTKK, Sandy, Salt Lake City. The whole truth and nothing but the truth.
NBC News Radio, I'm Pete Williams. The FBI says Wade Michael Page shot himself to death after he was wounded by police during his attack on a Sikh temple in Wisconsin. It had been thought that a police bullet killed him. Investigators say they still have not found a motive for Page's attack. Fast food chain McDonald's says a key sales figure was flat in July. Rachel Rothman of Susquehanna Financial Group says the tough economy is now eating into McDonald's sales.
It's probably weak consumer sentiment and a slow recovery in jobs. People are probably not eating out as much, and I think that's pressuring sales.
A wildfire burning on a Utah military installation has officials worried about the potential it could spread to an area littered with thousands of unexploded shells, which could still detonate. It's a National Guard camp 40 miles southwest of Salt Lake City. No reports of damage from the second of 2 moderate earthquakes that shook wide areas of Southern California last night again and today around Yorba Linda. This is NBC News Radio. Prosecutors say a University of California professor who wrote emails outlining plans to attack a high school had been searching the internet for information on guns, fertilizer, and car bombs. He's accused of setting fires to avenge the death of his 14-year-old son, who committed suicide after being disciplined at school. American companies got slightly more productivity out of workers this spring after scaling back on hiring, but where are the jobs with high pay? NBC News Radio's Scott Carr has a look.
A Forbes study of reports from the Bureau of Labor Statistics says writers, elevator installers, and art teachers are just a few of the professionals who can earn salaries of over $100,000 a year. The report looks at information about more than 800 occupations, including hourly and annual wages. The national average salary for all occupations is just over $45,000. Scott Carr, NBC News Radio.
And pilots for bankrupt American Airlines have rejected the company's final contract offer. Pete Williams, NBC News Radio.
Now you can dial a diamond and save half by calling Empire Diamond at 1-800-SAVE-HALF. If you're in the market for a solitaire, engagement ring, anniversary, or investment diamond, then shop around, get the best price, and then dial a diamond at 1-800-SAVE-HALF. Empire will advise you on size, shapes, and values. They'll sell you diamonds directly from the source without a middleman's markup. These diamonds are guaranteed to be priced at half the retail price. A diamond certification by the Gemological Institute of America will be faxed or mailed to you. For qualified buyers, your diamond will be sent to your home or office for a free 10-day no-obligation inspection. Upon your satisfaction, you then pay for your purchase and get a 60-day money-back guarantee. Empire Diamond, located in the Empire State Building for over half a century, guarantees the lowest priced diamonds, 10-day free inspection, and money-back guarantee. Save over half on your diamonds. Call 1-800-SAVE-HALF. That's 1-800-SAVE-HALF. Visit us at dialadiamond.com.
Jay with Safelite Auto Glass.
We know you depend on your vehicle. So when you have auto glass damage, you need it fixed fast. Safelite has more glass in stock than anyone. So when you schedule a replacement with Safelite, we'll get you back on your way faster. Plus, our work is backed by the only national lifetime guarantee, keeping you covered anywhere.
Just tell your insurance company you want Safelite or call 1-800-800-2727 or go to safelite.com.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
You have teams in Tucson, Tennessee, and Taipei, and you need to work together. No problem. Welcome to GoToMeeting with HT Faces by Citrix, the easy-to-use, extraordinarily powerful way to meet online. Simply launch or join a meeting with one click from any computer, then share screens and webcams in real time, and review and edit documents together. Visit GoToMeeting.com, click the Try It Free button, and enter promo code 45. GoToMeeting with HT Faces. Try it free today.
Hey, this is Jake the computer guy from PC Laptops. It's back to school time and normally I'm all bummed out because summer rules. But not this year because I got a brand new PC Laptops Titan computer featuring the Intel Core i7 processor. And know, a lot of companies build crappy computers. These companies beat the snot out of you trying to sell you some rip-off extended warranty. If any store ever tries to sell you a rip-off extended warranty, just say, "Don't rip me off," and go straight to PC Laptops. All new PC Laptops desktop computers come with a lifetime service and parts warranty. Nobody else does that. That means if your hard drive blows up in 10 years, you're covered at 100%. And to make it extra fluffy, we're doing 0 down, 0 interest for a whole year on any new PC Laptops computer. OAC. Plus, if you have a student or faculty ID, we'll give you an extra $100 off any new computer. Call us at 1-877-596-SAVE or check us out at PCLaptops.com. That's PCLaptops.com. Because at PC Laptops, we love you.
Politicians may try to convince you that they can create jobs, but the cold fact is that politicians don't create jobs. Entrepreneurs do. Are you barely surviving in this economy but want to learn how to thrive in this economy? Are you tired of the rat race and burn with the desire to be your own boss? We've all heard the parable that if you give a man a fish, you'll feed him for a day. But if you teach that man to fish, you'll feed him for a lifetime. Are you ready to learn how to fish? Join proven entrepreneur, best-selling author, and host of Mental Self-Defense Radio, Jake Shannon, at the upcoming weekend Bootstrap Entrepreneurship Training right here in Salt Lake City. This Bootstrap Entrepreneurship Bootcamp is strictly limited to only 15 participants and is offered on a first-come, first-served basis. Learn more now at www.entrepreneurship.jakeshannon.com. That's entrepreneurship.jakeshannon.com. entrepreneurship.jakeshannon.com.
Exposing politics as pro wrestling. Welcome to Mental Self-Defense Radio and the Jake Shannon Radio program. Now, here's your host, Jake Shannon.
5-1, baby. 1 in 5. No one here gets out alive now. You get yours, baby. I'll get mine. Gonna make it, baby, if we try.
All right, guys, welcome back. Mental Self-Defense Radio. I am your host, Jake Shannon. Thrilled to have such a legend. I mean, this is probably the coolest part about this job is I don't get paid. I show up here every day. Not because it's my right, because it's my duty. Carrying along my reasoning from before the break. My responsibility. And I've been around the block a few times. I've been fortunate, and I've worked hard both. And I know maybe a thing or two, particularly maybe about libertarian political theory, maybe a thing or two about hypnosis, maybe about financial economics. After all, I have academic credentials in those subjects in the English language. I've worked professionally in those capacities, and sometimes making obscene amount of money. And I was miserable. I will tell you firsthand that money cannot buy you happiness. Or, I don't know, maybe when you hit the bajillion mark. Maybe it's like when you're 900,900, all that, blah, blah, blah. You're just $1 away from $1 billion, and then that $1 makes a difference. I'm pretty sure it doesn't. What does make a difference is being congruent, being independent, being free in my mind. This is why I'm an entrepreneur, why I am active politically, trying to free minds, not just politically, but also, I guess you could call it spiritually. I don't know. My capacity as a hypnotist personally, your personal liberty, in addition to political liberty as a hypnotist. I don't know any other libertarian hypnotist per se out there. I guess like there's libertarian magicians in Penn and Teller and that kind of stuff. I guess I'm forging new ground. I don't know. Are there other libertarian magicians out there? Besides Penn and Teller? I don't know. But anyway, maybe it's like, first in the mind of the market or whatever. Like you don't blow your nose with a tissue, you use a Kleenex. You don't drink a cola, you drink Coke, whether it's Pepsi or RC or whatever. Anyway, want to get some comments here. Again, the call-in number 801-254-5600. 5855. I look at talk radio as social media. In fact, I think talk radio was social media before social media was social media, before Facebook was a twinkle in Zuckerberg's eye. Heck, before Zuckerberg was a twinkle in his parents' eye. Talk radio is here, allowing you to speak, to share your ideas, to engage in conversation. Now, I wanted to talk about some of the things. Yesterday's show, one heck of a show, had another brilliant guest, Colin Ross, psychiatrist Colin Ross, MD, expert in military mind control. Picking his brain about the rash of school shooters. Saw this at medicalexpress.com, and that's without an E. It's medical X, like the number X, like XYZ, medicalexpress.com. The morality of human subject research. I thought this was fitting, given our guest yesterday, Colin Ross, and the CIA, MK Ultra, MK Search, all these things that we know have happened where the government experimented on our own citizens. We know the Tuskegee experiment. They've done it with viruses. We know they've done it. Ewan Cameron has done it with shock and drugs and just awful stuff. The hypnosis, narco-hypnosis, all kinds of crazy things. Anyway, the morality of human subject research, August 3rd, 2012, over at Medical Express. The federal government is in the process of revising the regulations that govern most human subject research in the U.S. In a policy forum piece in the August 3rd issue of Science, bioethics expert Rebecca Dresser, the Daniel Noyes Kirby Professor of Law and Professor of Ethics and Medicine at Washington University in St. Louis, weighs in with recommendations for changes in the oversight process. Dresser writes that the research oversight system must be based on a fundamental moral judgment. Quote, human subjects have interests that should not be subordinated to the interests of the patients, researchers, industry, stakeholders, and others who gain health and monetary benefits from the research enterprise, she writes. Dresser makes 3 recommendations to promote informed choice. Okay, these are not controversial. This is informed consent, basically, from the ideas of medical ethics, bioethics. To promote informed choice, researchers should adopt procedures to evaluate whether prospective subjects understand essential facts about a study. 2, because research subjects accept burdens so that others may benefit, research sponsors and institutions should cover the costs of any study-related injuries. That is, iatrogenesis, what I talk about all the time on this show. To ensure that risks to subjects are justified by the importance of the knowledge a study is expected to produce. Studies should undergo independent and rigorous merit review. Dresser holds a joint appointment, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah, they just talk about how great she is. Anyway, let's hope. Again, this is one of those things that, sure, we can have one prong of attack going through establishment channels, but we should also, you and me, take responsibility. Stop signing up for this. Stop relying on doctors. Stop pushing doctors for cures to things that they can't cure and then pressuring them or threatening them. But then also holding them responsible. These are not simple. Let's go to the phones. We got Jason out in Provo. Let me see if I can bring him in. Jason, are you there?
Hey, Jake.
What's up, man?
Well, like I was telling your receptionist earlier, this is Home Away from Home.
Wait. She's not a receptionist. She is the producer of my show.
Oh, sorry. She's, like I was telling your producer.
And she also is a phone screener.
Sorry. Well, I was saying that this is Home Away from Home.
Yeah.
Anyway, and she liked that. So anyway,
good.
You asked a question earlier. What are we doing to get involved? I'd say, with me personally, this as very well as indeed that I'm very active in the political process. And for all your listeners, there's a great event up in Bountiful tonight at 7 o'clock.
Oh, this is that Constitution Party thing, right?
Yes, it is.
And Tim Alders is going to be there.
Yes, he will be. And Tim Alders is the running mate with Kirk Pearson on the Constitution Party ticket for governor.
Good.
So, and it's actually going to be, and yes, it will be more of a combined event where, campaign kickstart for them, as well as Virgil Good coming into town for the presidential candidate.
Oh, I see. So you guys, as the Constitution Party's candidate for the presidency, is going to come into town too. And then you said that you have a Senate. You have a Senate candidate as well.
Mm-hmm. Even auditor. Even though I'm going to be voting for the Republican this year for the auditor, because John Diggle's a good man. But
good. So and for those people, what time is it in Bountiful tonight?
7:00 at Bountiful City Council chambers.
Okay, good news. Yeah, and you do other things too, Jason. I mean, from the limited amount I know about you, you're also an entrepreneur, right?
Yes, I am.
And so, not only do you provide for yourself or whatever, your family, that kind of thing, but employees, other suppliers, other contractors that you're actually creating value.
I try to. It's a little harder to sell consumer electronics in this depression, but the thing is to always look what you can do to be innovative instead of looking for a handout from someone. Either from, I'm diabetic. I'm not insurable. Diabetic supplies and insulin cost me a grundle. Self-employed, but yet, do I ask for help from the government? Hell no. Pardon the French.
I like it, man. That's the bare minimum, right? I mean, we should expect that from other people.
Become innovative and think of how you can provide for yourself and your families, and that's all that should matter in this life.
Good, man. I'm glad that you're doing that, and hopefully people will come out and support a third party. Stop with the Democrats and Republicans.
Absolutely.
By this time, they have proven. Look at the way that they treat Ron Paul, a guy who is awesome, and they treat him like he's some sort of pariah, like he has leprosy or something. It's so crazy.
Let's look at the own Republican Party mantra here in the state of Utah. You have Gary Herbert. He's going at this large amount of money 2 days before caucuses, and Thomas Wright, the chairman of the party, donated the same amount of money, coincidentally, to a Republican Women's Forum. Before this time, Orrin Hatch never once accepted to debate at any of the 10 debates with all 10 candidates. But magically, after caucus night, that same Republican Women's Forum hosted 3 debates, and only with 3 candidates of their choosing. Yes, Orrin Hatch was one, and he attended them. And the Orrin Hatch supporter, Thomas Wright, moderated that debate. Gary Herbert came out later, before the final primary vote, came out endorsing Orrin Hatch. A couple days before the convention, you had the announcement of the use of the electronic balloting keypads, which they have problems with for most of the day at convention.
Yep,
the whole thing.
You're right, buddy. Hey, Jason, dude, I'm sorry to cut you, but I got another caller. I want to get him in before the commercial break.
Thanks.
I appreciate you, buddy. I'm glad you're doing what you're doing, and always glad to hear from you. Don't be a stranger.
Thanks, Jake.
All right, have fun tonight. Let's go. This is important, guys. I mean, look at Jason, right? So he calls in the show. He's politically active. I see him on Facebook all the time. I mean, I don't know much more than that, but I see him. I recognize him. Trying to help persuade people. Running again his own entrepreneurial venture. Let's go to the phones again. We've got Tom. Oh, Tom in St. George.
Hello, Jake.
Tom Garrison. That's not just any Tom. What's going on, Tom?
This is the Tom, right?
The Tom of St. George. I knight thee.
How are you
dubbed
doing?
thee Tom of St. George. So, Gene Sharp, tell me about him.
Oh yeah, I had to call. I listened to that. I saw some posts. I think Mark made that Gene Sharp was going to be on your show.
Yes, Mark, our vice chair and also kind of in charge of our communications. He does a great job.
He does a wonderful job. And my PhD PhD dissertation was about nonviolence and democracy, and I based a whole lot of it on Gene Sharp's work.
You know, it's funny because it seems like so many people, unless they're actually like in Serbia or Syria or something, unless they're like you, like actually digging deep into this stuff, they never hear about him, and that's a shame, you know?
Oh, yeah. I mean, just as a compilation of the different methods of nonviolent direct action and how it's been used throughout history. It's not just a couple of hundred years old, like he pointed out, and he points out in his books. And the utility of it can be used in, maybe not every situation, but it can certainly be used in a whole lot of different situations for people to try to, maintain their rights or struggle for something that's right.
Yeah. Now, hold on a sec. We got our commercial break coming up. You want to hang on during the break, Tom?
Oh, sure.
Okay, hold on just a second, guys. Talking about our guests, talking about peace, about liberty, right here, AM 630 K-Talk, the voice of Utah, Mental Self-Defense Radio, coming back after these sponsors. Give a listen.
Are you ready for some fun? It's time to get out and play. Grab your kids, grandkids, and the kid in you. Experience the fun of radio-controlled cars, trucks, boats, and helicopters. Visit www.primehobbies.com, your online hobby store. We only stock name brand products. Traxxas radio-controlled cars and trucks, HPI Racing, Align Helicopters, Team Associated, and Quest Aerospace. If you're tired of buying and buying and buying the discount store junk, stop by primehobbies.com and purchase a vehicle that will last for years with parts support to keep you up and running. Let Prime Hobbies be your #1 trusted online hobby superstore. For fun delivered right to your door, go to primehobbies.com. That's www.primehobbies.com. Let the fun begin. www.primehobbies.com.
Are you feeling weighed down by clutter? Let Town Storage help you lighten up. Using a storage unit is a great way to organize your home so you can experience clutter-free living. If you're trying to sell your home or having family over for the holidays, a storage unit can really help open up your house for a quick sell or to make room for all the relatives. Town Storage has new lower prices and an on-site manager. You have 24-hour management, security, video surveillance. Town Storage is great. It's right off the freeway. There's an electronic gate. The driveways are nice and wide, so you're not having to squeeze your truck in. In fact, they can accommodate a whole 53-foot tractor trailer. They're open 7 days a week, and they even have business discounts. Wherever you live in Utah, there's a Town Storage near you. Visit townstorage.com. That's town with an E, storage.com. Or call 800-716-8917. That's 1-800-716-8917.
You're over 40, having trouble reading street signs, driving is getting scary, and reading isn't fun anymore. Sound familiar? Well, that's the curse of cataracts. I know, I went through it. Then I went to the Eye Institute of Utah, and in a matter of minutes, the problem was solved. No pain, no discomfort, and by that evening, I had the vision I'd enjoyed as a teenager. Years ago, cataract surgery was a huge deal. Now, thanks to modern LensX laser technology, the whole procedure's over in a matter of minutes with no pain or discomfort, and Medicare pays most of the cost. Don't trust your vision to just anyone. You want the very best, and for me, that was Dr. Sione and the other highly trained specialists at the Eye Institute of Utah. They've done thousands of successful procedures, and they're so advanced that other doctors come from all over the world to study under their guidance. Call now for a free evaluation. 801-803-6968. That's 801-803-6968. Call 801-803-6968 now for a free evaluation.
The voice of Utah. AM 630 K-Talk.
K-Talk.com.
#1 for the most live, local, two-way talk.
Long distance information. Give me Memphis, Tennessee. Help me find a party that tried to get in touch with me. She could not leave a number, but I know a place to call.
All right, guys, welcome back, Mental Self-Defense Radio. I am your host, Jake Shannon, joined by our friend of the show, correspondent Tom Garrison, calling in. I think we lit a fire under him. Tom, are you there?
Yes, I am, Jake.
Gene Sharp. How come more people don't know? How come they have to be writing a PhD dissertation like yourself to have heard about his work?
Well, sheesh. Look at even our own history. How many, and you've mentioned several times, and it's very true, how many people know of Henry David Thoreau?
Right.
I learned that sort of stuff when I was in high school and certainly in college. I don't think it's taught much anymore. Do people know much about the black sit-ins in the late 50s and early 1960s to desegregate lunch counters and other kind of public accommodation places in the South? Does anyone know about Rosa Parks? Do they even know who she is? I don't think this sort of stuff is taught. I think there's just a lot of angry out there. There's a lot of
now they
anger.
know about like Twilight and Harry Potter and the Hunger Games. They don't know about these pivotal moments.
Even educated people, but you talk to people that are college graduates, and could you tell me about Rosa Parks? Let's see, she was the second baseman for the girls softball team. It's amazing. I wanted to make a couple of comments about Mr. Sharp or Professor Sharp.
Please, of course.
Yeah, one is that, and I think you'd probably agree with this, and I'm pretty sure that he does, is that a lot of people talk about what he terms it nonviolent direct action. I think that's a really good way to put it. You're a pacifist. And even when I was very much into being a practitioner of this sort of stuff and very much believed in it, I hated the word pacifist. It's so passive. You're a pacifist, so I can go up there and beat the crap out of you and you won't do anything. Well, that's really not what it's about. It's about people using the strength they have. It may be numbers. It may be public demonstrations. It may be, he was right, that every regime has a weakness. And if you can get some of the weaknesses in even a Nazi regime, you can get some of the officers appeal to their better side if there was one, you can start to crumble the facade of an authoritarian government. And pacifist, just connotes to me being passive, being weak, not having strength. And if you look at what Gene Sharp cataloged, the kinds of nonviolent direct action that's taken place throughout history, the people who did this were anything but weak. The Indians who were fighting for, on the subcontinent, not Native Americans in this country, who were fighting for their freedom from British colonial rule, they would march for the salt tax, because they wouldn't pay, they protested paying the tax on salt. And they would march in waves up to these British colonialists and their Indian subordinates who would just beat the crap out of them with these canes and things. The people who went on freedom rides in the South, white students, white college students, and black students on buses to desegregate public transportation, they just got beat up all over the place, but they didn't strike back. And after a while, you just admire their courage. This is a long way to say a pretty simple thing, is that the word pacifist attached to these kinds of actions, I just really have never liked. And I
like his languaging, that he's waging peace, that he looks at it as a war. It's just one without bullets.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I mean, it is a war, and it can be an incredibly intense struggle. And another thing that I think a lot of folks don't realize, first of all, pacifists aren't weak. They're very courageous people to do what they do in the face of potential violence against them. God, now I forgot my second point.
Well, and you bring up a point. This is something that, when I refer to myself as a libertarian, I find myself struggling against the baggage laid onto us by fans of the straw man argument.
Oh, you bet.
And so, I find these other formulations that I find more accurate, like responsibilitarian. But
I love that.
But the one that I like, that I find works best for, and this is my own coining, so if people don't like it, it's my fault. I'm sorry, but I call myself a pacifist that will punch you back.
I'm not sure that's much of a pacifist then.
Well, you punch them back. You're a pacifist until somebody messes with you.
Well,
meaning you're not going to start anything.
Yeah. I mean, you're not going to initiate violence. Fine, that's great. I'm not sure that's a pacifist, because a pacifist, well,
that's why I add the qualification that I am a pacifist that will punch you back.
Yeah, I mean, you don't initiate violence. That's great, and I know Professor Sharp would go along with that, and that's kind of the thrust of all this, is that nonviolent action can be incredibly forceful. I mean, it is. When it's done right and when it's done on a big scale, it's very forceful. You're forcing whoever your opponent is. It may be government authorities, it may be a company, it may be whatever. You're trying to force your opponent to change their behavior and hopefully to convert them. But that's really not even the main thing. Gandhi was into converting people, but a lot of people who just use nonviolent direct action as a tactic don't do it to convert necessarily. That would be great, but they do it because force against force. It's just they're not using violence, and they're not initiating violence. These are all just some more subtleties, because I think a lot of people, when they hear about nonviolence and passive, yeah, that's for sissies and people who can't defend themselves, and that's really not the case at all.
I agree with you, and that, again, is that what we're fighting against is kind of this straw man approach that the opponents, these disinformation agents, try to tweak and twist and make it and totally misrepresent the perspective. But again, that's language, and that's why we have to be able to disarm that with, again,
another example for us libertarians, which always comes up, particularly when you talk with conservative types, where you might have a whole lot of areas of commonality, is about drug laws and about how libertarians want to, at minimal, decriminalize personal drug use, that sort of thing. And they say, oh, you're sort of smoking pot and doing coke. Well, no. I'm not necessarily advocating it, and I don't advocate it. But if someone wants to do that to their own body in the privacy of their own home, and they aren't infringing on someone else's freedom, why make them a criminal? I mean, there's a difference between decriminalizing something and advocating it. And I think we get pushed into the advocating it that we're all a bunch of dope-smoking, hippie types, and that's just not the case. I mean, you're probably a hippie type, but not me.
I guess, although my hairdo is totally wrong for it. I think you actually have to have hair to be a hippie, don't you?
One of those nouveau hippies.
Yeah. I'm on the avant-garde of hippiness. I'm cutting edge.
Well, I wanted to call in and make a couple of comments here, and hopefully people that are listening maybe might take a look at the website that Professor Sharp was talking about, and that nonviolent direct action can be used in a lot of ways. It's really not for wimps. It's not for wimps at all. It's for really strong people with strong convictions.
Now, speaking of other stuff besides writing a PhD dissertation, you've written your book. How is that going? It's out now. You've got people talking about it. What kind of feedback? Are you getting feedback from people? Are people mad? Like, how dare you?
I would love to have some hate mail. So far, no.
So the name of the book, again, for people if they want to find it, on Barnes &
Why
Noble.
We Left the Left, and it's an ebook, and you can get it at Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, and a bunch of other more minor ebook stores. And it's about people who were strong leftists or liberals and became libertarians. It's 23 stories. To get back to your question, I've got a lot of good feedback through the people who read it. I'm somewhat disappointed in not as much as I thought, and like I say, seriously, no nasty emails or somebody saying, "Oh, this is all crazy, you're wrong."
Well, here's how you change that. You go to one of these you go to one of these Acorn or one of these Occupy web forums and start posting there.
Oh, you think?
You'll get plenty of hate, I can guarantee you.
It seems to be doing well in sales. It's hard to tell. Amazon doesn't give out specific sales figures. They give you a ranking.
Yeah, I know. I'm prey to the same problem.
Yeah,
but you're ranking well.
Well, there's more than 1 million. Amazon says on their site for authors, they say that there's more than 1 million books out there that they rank. And the ranking of my book has been from, this doesn't sound very good, but with relation to 1 million books, it's okay, from 14,000 as highest to like 250,000 as lowest. And it bounces all over the place, and it's impossible to tell whether it goes from 200,000 to 110,000 place.
Well, here's my suggestion as a statistician.
Yeah?
Start talking in terms of percentage and not in terms of integers, because then that'll be more impressive. Then you're actually, when you're at 14,000 over 1 million books, you're in the top
10%.
You're in the top percent of book sales.
Yeah, okay, 10% versus in the top 20 or 30%.
Right.
Yeah, but you don't know because it depends upon the sales of other books, and your book could take a big jump in a few days, and is that because it had 5 sales or 50? I don't know, and I won't find out until they release the information to my publisher. So I'm doing all that I can to promote it and sending out lots of emails. You probably got a couple of them, and talking about the book and hopefully and trying to get it reviewed, and we'll see what happens.
Awesome. Well, that's, and again, speaking, it's like what Gene Sharp was saying, is that you have to study hard and then actually participate, do stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like this, like write a book.
Yeah. Well, and people who, even if you just go out and participate in the early days in a Tea Party rally, or you participate in Occupy Wall Street, it almost doesn't matter which side it's on. You get a sense of empowerment there, that the power of other folks doing a similar kind of thing. Now, hopefully it doesn't turn violent and destroy property and all those kind of things, but you do get a sense of individuals coming together for a common purpose can bring about something important. And I think that's a good lesson to learn.
It certainly is. It certainly is. Well, Tom, are you working on any stories for us? I know I've been out of town for almost, I was out for the better part of 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks. But you got anything cooking in the back of your brain? Something you want to
go into? I've got a few things I want to talk about. If you want me to come on sometime, send me an email or something. I do like the idea of spending a little while talking about concentrated benefits and dispersed costs as a way of looking at why government is out of control.
I like it. All right, well, we will. Let's get you on next week, or whenever we've got an opening. I'll get you and Stephanie together because I want you to be doing more in-depth stuff instead of just a half hour. I want you to start doing a whole hour so we can dig a little deeper into this kind of research.
That would be fun. So how have you been?
Been busy. Traveling, international travel. I guess I'm an international playboy, except I'm married with 3 kids under 5.
Except for the playboy part.
Yeah. So I'm a hippie without hair. I'm a happily married, doting dad that travels internationally and has crazy book deadlines and
you're a responsibilitarian.
And I'm a responsibilitarian. I am a pacifist that will punch you back. So I'm super busy, but loving it. I mean, I'm just type A, so I'd go crazy if I didn't have all this stuff to do. I create this, so I'm responsible for it.
Yeah, that's very good. Very good, Jake.
So all is good, buddy. All right, well, I appreciate the call. The intrepid, the amazing Tom Garrison, and again, thanks your insights in particular, because like you said, writing your PhD dissertation, Gene Sharp is like pivotal.
He's the man.
Yeah.
All right, well, take care, Jake.
All right, buddy. Thanks, Tom.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right. Guys, we're already encroaching on the next commercial break. Time flies, right, when you're having fun. I hope you guys are enjoying the show today. The call-in number, 801-254-5855. Say your piece, man. And I mean, well, it could be P-E-A-C-E, like maybe a Gene Sharp or even a Tom Garrison, or Peace, P-I-E-C-E. Give us a call. Like I said, I treat this like social media. Like if you would post on my Facebook wall, then you better darn well pick up the phone and call. Again, 801-254-5855. Normal caveats. Look, if the line is busy, call right back. Just means somebody else is on the line. If it's ringing, that means you're probably next. Please be patient. We do want to get you on the air. I saw this interesting Gallup poll. Gallup surveyed more than 500,000 people about every 50 states, all the 50 states, ranking them in economics, workplace, community, personal choices. Guess what? Guess who ranked number 1? Utah. Utah ranked number 1 overall. According to this article, some of the factors that helped place us that high: low smoking habits. I'm a part of that as a hypnotist, getting people to quit. Clean water. I can't take responsibility for that, unfortunately. Supervisors who treat workers like a partner rather than a boss. Also learning something new or interesting on any given day. And perceptions that the state is getting better, not worse. So congratulations, Utah. Kind of fun. So I guess Utah's number 1, Minnesota number 2, Colorado number 3, Nebraska, North Dakota in the top. The worst, West Virginia, Mississippi, Kentucky, Arkansas, Nevada. Ooh, Nevada's dead last. Ooh, that's rough. What do you think? I have to say this. I love Utah. I came from California, and I loved California, but, man, I love Utah. I am not LDS. I'm not of that particular faith. I came here, and I've been nothing but pleasantly surprised. The people, the quality of life. The only thing I wish the air quality was better in Salt Lake City. To the point where I'm considering moving out of the city. I mean, I don't know. There is not much that you can do because it's a geographical issue, this kind of giant bowl that we live in. But it is, it's just aggravating me. So, all right, guys, come on back after the break. Mental Self-Defense Radio, K-Talk, AM 630, the voice of Utah. Pick up your phone, 801-254-5855.
Politicians may try to convince you that they can create jobs, but the cold fact is that politicians don't create jobs. Entrepreneurs do. Are you barely surviving in this economy but want to learn how to thrive in this economy? Are you tired of the rat race and burn with the desire to be your own boss? We've all heard the parable that if you give a man a fish, you'll feed him for a day. But if you teach that man to fish, you'll feed him for a lifetime. Are you ready to learn how to fish? Join proven entrepreneur, best-selling author, and host of Mental Self-Defense Radio, Jake Shannon, at the upcoming weekend Bootstrap Entrepreneurship Training right here in Salt Lake City. This Bootstrap Entrepreneurship Bootcamp is strictly limited to only 15 participants and is offered on a first-come, first-served basis. Learn more now at www.entrepreneurship.jakeshannon.com. That's entrepreneurship.jakeshannon.com. entrepreneurship.jakeshannon.com.
Over 20 million Americans suffer from a life-threatening health risk known as obstructive sleep apnea. For people with OSA, snoring through a bad night's sleep can contribute to heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, stroke, sexual dysfunction, and shorten your lifespan by 8 to 10 years. You need Dr. Miles Preble, the OSA dentist. He's helped hundreds of folks like you or a loved one with this problem. Call 801-278-4787, 801-278-4787. Remember, when you laugh, the world laughs with you. Snore, and you sleep alone.
Gung Ho gives you clinically proven focus, attention, and concentration.
A major benefit of Gung Ho is its increased focus and concentration. The ability to focus requires an adequate ongoing supply of energy and healthy communication between neurons. Gung Ho supports a natural brain metabolism. Find Gung Ho at k-talk.com.
Light focus. The voice of Utah. AM 630 K-Talk.
K-Talk.com.
Number 1 for the most live, local, two-way talk.
Talk to each other and talk. Know you both one another. Talk.
All right, baby, we got coming back from that smooth listening, talking about, I don't know, sorry. I'm trying my best. What was that guy's name? Barry White? Yeah. That song, I'm sorry, that song just really reminds me of, like, those late-night love talk shows. I don't know, we could do that. You want to do that? We could switch formats. You want to talk about love? I guess that actually does make me a hippie, then. An avant-garde hippie. We could turn this into one of those love shows. I don't know. Anyway, before the break, that survey, the Gallup survey, Utah number 1. All kinds of interesting stuff in the news. I'm going to just, this is, I guess, if it were a Jeopardy category, this would be potpourri. I'm just going to kind of go all over the place here. This is from Investors Business Daily, 8/7/2012. Did White House commit perjury about the GM bailout? Wow, opens with such a great word. Love it when journalists have guts. Like mainstream journalists. Again, this is over at Investors Business Daily. news.investors.com. You go to news.investors.com. Did White House commit perjury about GM bailout? The lead word on the story, cronyism, : Kind of funny, right? Cronyism and the colon. I'm talking about the part of the body, not the little 2 dots. Kind of the same thing, huh? Anyway, okay. Cronyism, : In recent days, the scope of the Obama White House's cronyism has become shockingly apparent. A trove of emails shows it deprived thousands of workers of their pensions to benefit unions, then lied about it. The news site, the Daily Caller, has obtained internal government emails that show the U.S. Treasury Department, led by Tim Geithner, same guy, by the way, that allowed the LIBOR lie to go on. This guy is a criminal, people. The news site Daily Caller has obtained internal government emails that show the U.S. Treasury Department, led by Timothy Geithner, pushed in 2009 to end the pensions of 20,000 non-union employees of GM's Delphi Auto Parts unit as part of the auto bailout. What's truly outrageous is that while those workers were cheated of their full pensions, union employees of the same Delphi company got their pensions paid. This financially ruinous favoritism of union workers over non-union workers is blatantly unfair, illegal, and a violation of constitutional guarantees of equal treatment under the law. And the reason is political. Excuse me. By its own reckoning, organized labor spent nearly $400 million to get Obama elected in 2008, more by far than any other interest group. So it's no surprise that the White House punished non-union workers and rewarded union members when it came to bail out GM. The same cronyism that's with the Republicans, it's just the Democrats are doing it with unions. Big shocker. Let's go to the phone. We got Steve in Salt Lake City. Steve, welcome.
Hi there.
Hi there. What's going on, man?
I wanted to talk to you. Did the White House commit perjury? And I say no. Who's the occupant of the White House, by the way? Oh, that's the one that would have been the perjury committer. The White House didn't say anything. Oh, it'd be Barack Obama. Did he commit perjury? Now we got a question.
Okay. I think, though, that most people understand that it's the White House that would, get in. When they say that it's the White House, they know that's interchangeable with the person. Like when Bill Clinton committed perjury, they would oftentimes euphemistically refer to the White House.
Yeah, and I was always uptight about that. I mean, even George Bush isn't the White House, or I don't care the flavor of the guy, but the White House is not going to commit perjury.
No, I understand that. I mean, I'm hip to the power of words. That's what this whole show's about.
Right.
But I mean, most people understand that an actual White House is not going to do anything. It just sits there.
Yeah. So I am nitpicking on that just a little bit, but as for
but wait,
Obama
Steve,
commit perjury?
wait,
Absolutely.
Steve, hold on, wait. Do you actually think that there are some people out there that thinks that the White House itself, the physical building, committed perjury?
Oh,
You don't think people understand that they're talking about the Obama administration?
Well, I don't think that's going on, but it's still, people use the word the guns kill people. And do people actually believe that? In a way, yeah, but no, realistically, no. But because we let it slide, it gets twisted around a little more and a little more.
No, your point is well taken. I understand. Yeah, I think it probably would be. It might be a little more inflammatory if they said the Obama administration or Barack H. Obama committed perjury.
Exactly.
Sure.
Exactly. And that's all. I mean, it's a little bit nitpicky, but
no, I think that point's well taken. I do think that's a good point. I don't think it's a huge blazing one, but I think that it's a good point. I think that we should probably say, you know what? But I also have to applaud that at least they're doing this story. I mean, most news outlets aren't even reporting on it.
For sure. Yeah.
And they opened up with cronyism. I mean, I can't even imagine. That's awesome.
Yeah. Boy, he's just not the big favorite like he was 4 years ago, is he?
Well, I think we live in an information age. We don't live in the Bronze Age anymore, and I think that, people are hip to the internet, and all they have to do is look at like on YouTube. They have this video of him in 2009 saying he's going to cut the deficit in half. And where is that? I think people aren't stupid. But the problem is people are disinterested.
Yeah.
I think they're distracted. And I think you raise a very good point. There is some culpability with the language used in terms of shifting the direct responsibility. I'm actually coming around to your point even more now, yeah.
Right, and it does soften it. I didn't quite make it as strong as you did there, and it does soften it, saying the White House did it versus the Obama administration did, or maybe he himself did. It softens there from that.
No, I'm actually coming around all the way now. I actually agree with you. I think you're spot on. I think that I want to. It's like anything. Like, I rag on Rand Paul, but he does some good things. And it's like this article. This article does some good things, but you're right. I think they probably should have called him out directly.
Yeah. All right, well, thanks.
All right, buddy.
Bye-bye.
All right, don't be a stranger, Steve. Thanks, man. A good point. I mean, at first my reaction is like, really? But it really is kind of important. Shouldn't we? I mean, I don't know. Like I say, it's a mixed bag, like maybe a Rand Paul or a Mike Lee or something. It's like doing a good thing and then disappointing. But it's doing the good thing. It's like that kid, if you ever coached sports, he's got a lot of heart, but then he's just ultimately disappointing. Anyway, kind of cool, this article nonetheless. I do agree that they should have been a little more specific, but as they go down here, blah, 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 laying it right like it is, cronyism, I will applaud them for that. Here we go. At the end of it, it says in the same article, as we argue in another editorial today, this crony socialism hasn't brought back the auto industry. No. It was bad for the auto industry and bad for America. But worst of all, perhaps, it's convinced millions of Americans that there's no longer a level playing field, that this hyper-politicized White House can reward its friends and punish its enemies with impunity. We'd call for an investigation by the Justice Department, but we know where'd that go. Nowhere. Yeah, and you know what? Maybe that's a bad attitude, too. While we're nitpicking. Why don't you call the Justice Department? And you know what else? Don't call it crony socialism. This is, well, I guess it is. I don't know. It's this hybrid socialism. It's state capitalism, people. That's what China has. I am an advocate of laissez-faire capitalism, free markets, and that includes, to me, well, again, and here's words, rights, but again, in the new formulation, duties, not entitlements, a duty to free speech, a duty to self-defense, a duty to trial by jury, a duty to privacy, a duty to not incriminate oneself. Important stuff. You can go check that article out yourself over at Investors Business Daily. Another article over at libertylawsite.org. Great website. Library of Law and Liberty. Connected with a really great fund, the Liberty Fund. Great organization. But first, let's go back to the phones. We've got Lisa in Salt Lake City. Hi, Lisa.
Hi there. Just enjoying your program today, and I listened to some of it yesterday, and I thought it was great yesterday.
I hope I didn't make your head explode, because I went into that crazy territory, not conspiracy theory, but conspiracy evidence.
No, I just thought it was interesting.
Good.
And good information to keep in mind.
Oh, did you learn that there's really no difference between Mitt Romney and Obama at all?
Oh, I already knew that.
Okay, good. I mean, I guess, what is it, that skin pigment, melanin, there's a difference there. But on policy, they're pretty much the same.
Well, they take money from the same place.
They do, and they're the same on the NDAA, they're the same on TARP, they're the same on rights,
Yep.
They're the same on abortion, they're the same on every single dang issue that matters.
Yeah, the NDAA, the National Defense Authority Act that John McCain and Carl Levin wrote, that writer on that bill, to essentially take away our Fifth Amendment rights, and really to intrude on our lives to the point where you want to leave the country if they're going to continue.
I don't blame you. I've had similar thoughts. I'll be honest.
Yeah. So, but the reason I called is sort of tied this all in together.
Okay.
I was doing to a website called Follow the Money, and I came upon where it said that they listed a couple of states, about 4 or 5. I think Wisconsin and even California, I think, is one of them, and possibly Texas. I can't remember for sure. I'd have to go back to it. But at any rate, what this website does is it lists the lobbyists and how much money they gave to your public official, and it's put on by that group within the state, and the state allows it to, they give the information so that can be published so that you can read it. And I was thinking how great that would be if we had that in Utah. In fact, how great it would be if we had it in every state.
Yeah, I will say this. Like I said earlier, Utah is ranked number 1 in these polls, and I love Utah. I think it is great, but I think it's not. It's not because I like the politicians. I think the politicians here are probably as bad news, maybe even worse than anywhere else in the country in terms of this, the nonsense that they pull.
Well, I don't think they're very open about what they really are doing or who they're associating with, and that's not a good thing.
Look, I tried to run for school board. I am the doggone chair of the Libertarian Party, the fastest growing and the 3rd largest political party in this state, okay? And I couldn't even get on the ballot because I've got to be part of some committee chosen by Gary Herbert's got to choose me to present to Gary Herbert, who then will choose 3 of the people chosen by the committee. He'll choose 2 of those 3. That is bullcrap. I should be able to get on that ballot.
It's kind of rigged, isn't it?
What's that?
I say it's kind of rigged, isn't it?
It's not. I don't think "kinda" is even really necessary there. I think that is rigged. If you look in the dictionary definition of rigged, you'll find a picture of the Utah school board election process.
And then the other thing I wanted to bring up, which is just as bad, well, not as bad, but bad, as the NDAA, and that would be the new license plate scanners that 38 states have, and Utah is one of them, where it allows the police to scan your license plate, whether you're doing anything or not, and to get all the information that goes with that car and take a picture of the car and keep that information on file if they choose. And 38 states have it. My home state of Missouri does not, and North Carolina doesn't, and Wisconsin doesn't, and I think Wyoming, Montana, and a few others.
All right, well, yeah, I agree. It's a problem. Hey, Lisa, we're at that.
Well, hey, enjoy your show. Thanks.
That tells us that the commercials are coming, whether we like it or not. I appreciate the call.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Lisa. Come on back after this break. Last hour today. Big show. Mental Self-Defense Radio, K-Talk.
Are you ready for some fun? It's time to get out and play. Grab your kids, grandkids, and the kid in you. Experience the fun of radio-controlled cars, trucks, boats, and helicopters. Visit www.primehobbies.com, your online hobby store. We only stock name brand products, Traxxas radio-controlled cars and trucks, HPI Racing, Align Helicopters, Team Associated, and Quest Aerospace. If you're tired of buying and buying and buying the discount store junk, stop by primehobbies.com and people that will last for years with parts support to keep you up and running. Let Prime Hobbies be your #1 trusted online hobby superstore. For fun delivered right to your door, go to primehobbies.com. That's www.primehobbies.com. Let the fun begin. www.primehobbies.com.
Wake up without yuck in your lungs or the dark cloud of lung cancer or heart disease looming over your future. Have the energy and health you deserve by simply calling Salt Lake City Family Hypnosis at 801-738-5390. Forget what you've seen from TV and the movies. Hypnosis is powerful and natural and has been accepted by the American Medical Association since the 1950s. Our methods have proven time and again to be more effective than pills, patches, gum, and willpower for quitting smoking. If you've tried the rest, now call the best. Salt Lake City Family Hypnosis, 801-738-5390. That's Salt Lake City Family Hypnosis, 801-738-5390. Be sure to ask about our proven weight loss and natural breast enlargement programs. Visit us online at slchypnosis.com.
You're listening to Utah's first #1 talk station. K-Talk, AM 630, KTKK, Sandy, Salt Lake City. The whole truth and nothing but the truth.
NBC News Radio, I'm Pete Williams. President Obama and Mitt Romney courted voters on the road today. In Denver, the president said Romney's threat to repeal the new health care law would hurt family budgets.
I don't think insurance companies should control the care that you get. I don't think politicians should control the care that you get. I think there's one person to make these decisions on health care, and that is you.
In Iowa, Romney said the president's economic policies are placing a huge debt burden on the backs of future generations. A mixed day on Wall Street after several American companies said weak demand in Europe is cutting into their revenue. The Dow managed to close up just 7 points, the S&P was up a fraction, and the Nasdaq was down 5. Magazine publishers say circulation is down and single copy sales have fallen nearly 10% this year. Weight Watchers magazine dropped the most, down 28%. This is NBC News Radio. The FBI says the man who attacked a Sikh temple in Wisconsin killed himself after he was wounded by a policeman. Investigators say they still don't know and may in fact never know the motive behind Wade Michael Page's shooting spree. NASA's Mars rover called Curiosity continues to amaze scientists with how quickly it's sending information back to Earth. Project scientist John Grotzinger says some of the pictures have an oddly familiar look.
You would really be forgiven for thinking that NASA was trying to pull a fast one on you, and we actually put a rover out in the Mojave Desert and took a picture. A little LA smog coming in there.
New figures show fewer Americans are falling behind on their mortgage payments. The delinquency rate is down by nearly 9% this year. And those hours of Olympic telecasts have a hidden benefit. Public health officials say they are motivating armchair athletes to get up and get moving, which the researchers say is one of the best ways to fight obesity, heart disease, and diabetes. Pete Williams, NBC News Radio.
The federal government now borrows $58,000 every second. This is Pat Boone for Swiss America. A new book, The Inflation Deception, explains how to restore an honest money system. The Inflation Deception, written by monetary expert Craig R. Smith, explains how the inflatocracy took over our government, and then it shows 7 ways to restore a free, prosperous America. The key is safeguarding your life savings with gold, honest, debt-free money that politicians can't create or destroy. Why don't you call my friends at Swiss America right now? A free 272-page book to every listener with savings to protect. Call Swiss America now, toll free, 888-559-9920, 888-559-9920 for your free copy of The Inflation Deception. That's a $20 value. 888-559-9920, 888-559-9920.
Now you can dial a diamond and save half by calling Empire Diamond at 1-800-SAVE-HALF. If you're in the market for a solitaire, engagement ring, anniversary, or investment diamond, then shop around, get the best price, and then dial a diamond at 1-800-SAVE-HALF. Empire will advise you on size, shapes, and values. They'll sell you diamonds directly from the source without a middleman's markup. These diamonds are guaranteed to be priced at half the retail price. A diamond certification by the Gemological Institute of America will be faxed or mailed to you. For qualified buyers, your diamond will be sent to your home or office for a free 10-day no-obligation inspection. Upon your satisfaction, you then pay for your purchase and get a 60-day money-back guarantee. Empire Diamond, located in the Empire State Building for over half a century, guarantees the lowest priced diamonds. 10 same-day free inspection, and money-back guarantee. Save over half on your diamonds. Call 1-800-SAVE-HALF. That's 1-800-SAVEHALF. Visit us at dialadiamond.com.
Hey, this is Nia, the computer girl from PC Laptops. It's our Ultra Mega Super Deluxe Blowout Sale on the best desktop and laptop computers on the planet. We have demo models, open box, scratch and dents, and new models up to 50% off the original prices. Isn't that sweet? Do you have an old clunky computer? No problem, we'll buy it from you and apply it to your new computer. We'll transfer all of your pictures and stuff for free with our exclusive lifetime service guarantee. That means if you get a virus or spyware, or if your Windows gets completely messed up, you're covered 100%. To make it extra sweet, we're doing 0 down, 0 interest for a whole year. OAC. Holy mackerel, did I just say that? Please visit any one of our locations right now or call us right now at 1-877-596-SAVE. That's 1-877-596-SAVE. Or check us out at PCLaptops.com because at PC Laptops, we love you.
Politicians may try to convince you that they can create jobs, but the cold fact is that politicians don't create jobs. Entrepreneurs do. Are you barely surviving in this economy but want to learn how to thrive in this economy? Are you tired of the rat race and burn with the desire to be your own boss? We've all heard the parable that if you give a man a fish, you'll feed him for a day. But if you teach that man to fish, you'll feed him for a lifetime. Are you ready to learn how to fish? Join proven entrepreneur, best-selling author, and host of Mental Self-Defense Radio, Jake Shannon, at the upcoming Weekend Bootstrap Entrepreneurship Training right here in Salt Lake City. This Bootstrap Entrepreneurship Bootcamp is strictly limited to only 15 participants and is offered on a first-come, first-served basis. Learn more now at www.entrepreneurship.jakeshannon.com. That's entrepreneurship.jakeshannon.com. Entrepreneurship.jakeshannon.com.
Forget everything else for a moment and pay very close attention to the words you're about to hear. Something is wrong with your reality. Big government, big business, the mainstream media, and orthodox science all tell you what to believe. Yet the holes in their stories only get bigger every day. Welcome to your wake-up call. Welcome to your red pill. Welcome to Mental Self-Defense Radio and the Jake Shannon Radio program. Now, here's your host, Jake Shannon.
All right, guys, welcome back. Mental Self-Defense Radio. I am your host, Jake Shannon, 801-254-5855. Yes, you, in your car, at your desk. Yes, you. No, you. I'm talking to you. There, yes, listening. 801. Do it right now. You got a phone? There you go. 801-254-5855. Give me a call. Reading an article, Bloomberg, Bernanke says student loans won't cause crisis by Jeff Kearns. August 7th, 2012, Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke said record U.S. student loan debt doesn't put the financial system at risk the way mortgages did because most educational borrowing is backed by the government. What the heck is Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and all? Oh, these guys. Please stop being a sucker. Great other counterpoint over at libertylawsite.org, August 8, 2012. Should Ben Bernanke be impeached? Mike Rappaport. We'll read that in a second. Let's go to the phones. Caller, you are on the air. What's your name?
Cameron.
Hi, Cameron. What's up?
Hey, well, a while back you had a caller that called in and talked about the Orrin Hatch deal, and I was going to say something about it then, but then you got going on with that one guy for a while. So
yeah, you're right. We have moved on, but if it's so urgent, then make your peace. Well, but hurry, because I got another caller waiting.
I don't know if people really understand the way things are. You know, the one guy had said something about electronic voting being rigged. I personally believe that would be a red herring if people went after that. The voting was actually put in because Orrin Hatch's supporters weren't as vigilant as other people's supporters, and they would tend to go home. So the electronic balloting was put in so that his supporters, his race could be over with in an hour or two rather than taking into the afternoon.
All right, Cameron, is this your fast version of this story?
Well,
I want you to get it out, but I do have other callers. I'm just trying to be fair.
Well, I just trying to say that there is things in the Republican Party, but it's not. People are looking in the wrong places for it. And as far as I know, you're a libertarian, but the libertarian people could actually take over the Republican Party. And the problem you got with
no, that's what Ron Paul tried to do. And guess what? He's totally disrespected every inch along the way. He's been fighting tooth and nail and has 0-0 happening. They're not even in Maine. They're not even letting his delegates sit. So, good luck with the Republicans. They suck.
The Libertarians took over the Nevada State Republican Party. Matter of fact, the Utah State Republican Party is trying to subvert the Nevada Republican Party by setting up a new shadow Republican Party in Nevada because the Libertarian people that think along those lines, actually won there.
Look, I applaud them doing that. Anybody who's libertarian, whether you're doing it in the Democrats, Republicans, or the LP itself, I applaud those efforts. I'm with you 100%. I just think that for myself personally, I think that we have a tremendous candidate in Gary Johnson right now. I mean, this guy is not only the best candidate that the LP's ever had, in my opinion, even better than Ron Paul, but he's so much better in terms of just raw experience as an executive than both Obama and Romney. Proven.
Well, I would agree right now because there's nothing you can do about the Republican Party right now, but it changes over every 2 years. And
no, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. If the neoconservatives want to infiltrate us, we can infiltrate back. I'm with you.
Now, the thing is, the Republican Party, you got people that think it's their patriotic duty to vote, and they just go in there and they vote D or R.
Oh yeah, Tim made a great point that if Obama was a Republican, the Republicans would still vote for him. It's ridiculous. Hey, got to go, Cameron. Giving you about 4 minutes now. I got somebody patiently holding. Okay, buddy.
Okay.
I appreciate it, man. All right, guys, look, I don't have a call screener, so please be persistent. Hang in there. Oh, see, we lost him. Guys, call back. I don't have a screener. I want to get you on. I'm trying to get you on. 801-254-5855. Call. All right, Mike Rappaport, should Ben Bernanke be impeached? Now, this is after Bernanke says that the outstanding debt, which is over $1 trillion now, because it's held by the government, Sally Mae, he's such a moron. They're even like the same name. Like Sally Mae is the government debt holder of these student loans. Effectively the same in function, scope, blah, 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 as Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac with regards to mortgages. I mean, at this point, Ben Bernanke and Tim Geithner, this article over at LibertyLawSite.org says, should Ben Bernanke be impeached? I think it should Ben Bernanke be imprisoned for fraud? Same with Tim Geithner. Let's step it up, people. This is ridiculous. Chairman of the Federal Reserve. This guy has been wrong at every single turn. I mean, boggles my mind. Anyway, Mike Rappaport asks, should Ben Bernanke be impeached? Again, I would push for imprisonment. Anyway, the article reads, over at his Economics One blog, economist John Taylor discusses a recent speech by the former Wells Fargo chairman and CEO, Dick Kovacevich, who explains how he was forced to take TARP funds by U.S. Treasury Secretary Hank Paulson and Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke. And he quotes him here. Quote, in his speech, Kovacevich, I'm sorry I'm butchering that name, Kovacevich, however you say it, first described how he and the other bankers were told at that meeting that they had to accept the funds. He then paused and said to the Stanford audience, quote, "You might ask why I didn't just say no and not accept TARP funds." He then explained, "As my comments were heading in that direction, Hank Paulson turned to Chairman Bernanke, who was sitting next to him, and said, your primary regulator is sitting right here. If you refuse to accept these TARP funds, he will declare you capital deficient Monday morning." This was being said when we were a AAA rated bank. Is this America? I said to myself. At that time, Wells Fargo was in process of acquiring Wachovia, and such a declaration would have killed the deal. According to Kovacevic, quote, "It was truly a Godfather moment. They made us an offer we couldn't refuse," end quote. It was also truly a deviation from the principles of economic freedom, such as those I have highlighted in my book, First Principles, Predictable Policy, Rule of Law, Reliance on Markets, Limited Scope for Government. One can debate whether those deviations were appropriate, but they were clearly deviations. During the question and answer period after his talk, I asked Dick Kovacevic why more business people were not speaking out on this important issue. He explained how he had in fact waited a long time after he left Wells Fargo before speaking out because he did not want to risk some kind of retribution. He said he thought many others had a fear of speaking out. Mike Rappaport's article then continues after this quote from John Taylor and Dick Kovacevic, former CEO of Wells. It clearly indicates how big government can stifle freedom. But the more interesting question for me is whether these are impeachable offenses. Let us assume, as seems evident, that Paulson was threatening to take government action for illegitimate and illegal reasons. If the government had declared Wells Fargo's capital deficient and somehow explained the reasons for its decision, the action would be illegal and would be declared so by a court in a heartbeat. Presumably Paulson's actions here, threatening to engage in an illegal action if someone did not agree to one's request, might violate other civil or even criminal laws, unless there are special exceptions for government officials. Again, I think imprisonment, not impeachment. There is some controversy about whether a government official must violate the law in order to have committed an impeachable offense. Is that really up for question, people? Equality before the law applies to these idiots as well, these politicians. Anyway, continuing, it is my impression that a majority of the scholars who have studied the matter hold the view that the official need not violate the law, so long as he violates an important norm of government action. If one assumes the truth of Kovacevic's account, Paulson's actions certainly violate an important norm of government action. But Paulson is no longer a government servant. If Paulson is arguably guilty of an impeachable offense, then what about Bernanke? He sat there and allowed Paulson, that's called an accomplice, people, to claim that he, Bernanke, would take an illegal action unless Wells Fargo took the action both Paulson and Bernanke wanted to take. Since the two of them were representing the government in the meeting and were speaking for one another, it is easy to conclude that they were engaged in a joint enterprise. Thus, I think there is reasonable basis for concluding that Bernanke is also guilty of an impeachable offense. So why doesn't the House now undertake an investigation to determine whether to impeach Bernanke? Well, I suppose there are numerous reasons, including the political one, that Paulson and Bernanke were Republican appointees. Still, one would hope that the more anti-big government faction of the Republican Party in the House, the representatives associated with the Tea Party and Ron Paul, who still sits in the House, would consider the action. It would both serve the cause of freedom and help to show the dangers of big government by both parties. So, Tea Party Rand Paul, where are you? All I hear is crickets, sir. Or am I, afforded the same treatment as the people at We Are Change and whatnot when they ask you about your endorsement of Mitt Romney? Let's go to the phones. Caller, you're on the air. What's your name?
Oh, it's Susie.
Oh, hi.
I was watching a thing from Alex Jones. And
okay.
This one congressman is on the floor, and he was saying that certain individuals were threatened with martial law if they didn't sign that first Stinkin' bailout.
Oh, well, I remember that. I actually remember hearing the same.
Doors with certain individuals. Is that true?
I remember hearing these same things, and then they backtracked saying that martial law was a metaphor, that it wasn't actually going to be martial law.
Okay, so basically the American people have been stolen from, and we've been screwed, and they're still screwing us. They're taking everything out of the country, basically, and leaving us with nothing. Isn't that what they're doing?
I think that fairly accurately summarizes it.
Okay. All right, thanks.
No, you're right. And the funny thing, I mean, it's over and over again. Like this LIBOR thing is the biggest scandal to hit finance, bigger than the bailout. I mean, this is so huge. And Tim Geithner is on record admitting he lied and he knew that the LIBOR numbers were rigged and still went ahead and used them, didn't make a stink or whatever.
Hey, is Bernanke having an affair with one of the Rockefellers?
Is he what?
Having an affair with one of the Rockefellers.
I don't know. Honestly, the Rockefeller family's been involved in this business with the Carnegies, the Harrimans, the Bushes for a very long time.
Well, Bernanke looks a little soft in the shoes.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But all I know is that the guy, in my opinion, is a criminal.
Yes,
I don't know how there's another way softer to say it, but I think he is, and I think you're right. All right, Susie, I appreciate the call.
Yeah, bye.
All right. Guys, time for a commercial again. Patronize our sponsors, please. They keep the lights on. They keep the radio signal pumping out to your ears. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. Mental Self-Defense Radio, K-Talk.
Are you ready for some fun? It's time to get out and play. Grab your kids, grandkids, and the kid in you. Experience the fun of radio-controlled cars, trucks, boats, and helicopters. Visit www.primehobbies.com, your online hobby store. We only stock name brand products, Traxxas radio-controlled cars and trucks, HPI Racing, Align Helicopters, Team Associated, and Quest Aerospace. If you're tired of buying and buying and buying the discount store junk, stop by primehobbies.com and purchase a vehicle that will last for years with parts support to keep you up and running. Let Prime Hobbies be your #1 trusted online hobby superstore. For fun delivered right to your door, go to primehobbies.com. That's www.primehobbies.com. Let the fun begin. www.primehobbies.com.
Are you feeling weighed down by clutter? Let Town Storage help you lighten up. Using a storage unit is a great way to organize your home so you can experience clutter-free living. If you're trying to sell your home or having family over for the holidays, a storage unit can really help open up your house for a quick sell or to make room for all the relatives. Town Storage has new lower prices and an on-site manager. You have 24-hour management, security, video surveillance. Town Storage is great. It's right off the freeway. There's an electronic gate. The driveways are nice and wide, so you're not having to squeeze your truck in. In fact, they can accommodate a whole 53-foot tractor trailer. They're open 7 days a week, and they even have business discounts. Wherever you live in Utah, there's a Town Storage near you. Visit townstorage.com. That's town with an E, storage.com. Or call 800-716-8917. That's 1-800-716-8917.
You're over 40, having trouble reading street signs, driving is getting scary, and reading isn't fun anymore. Sound familiar? Yeah, that's the curse of cataracts. I know, I went through it. Then I went to the Eye Institute of Utah, and in a matter of minutes, the problem was solved. No pain, no discomfort, and by that evening, I had the vision I'd enjoyed as a teenager. Years ago, cataract surgery was a huge deal. Now, thanks to modern LensX laser technology, the whole procedure's over in a matter of minutes with no pain or discomfort, and Medicare pays most of the cost. Don't trust your vision to just anyone. You want the very best, and for me, that was Dr. Sione and the other highly trained specialists at the Eye Institute of Utah. They've done thousands of successful procedures, and they're so advanced that other doctors come from all over the world to study under their guidance. Call now for a free evaluation. 801-803-6968. That's 801-803-6968. Call 801-803-6968 now for a free evaluation.
The voice of Utah. AM 630 K-Talk.
K-Talk.com.
#1 for the most live, local, two-way talk.
Ricky, don't lose that number. You don't want
All right, guys, welcome back. Mental Self-Defense Radio. I am your host, Jake Shannon. Got a caller. Let's bring him in. See, Michael, are you there?
Right.
Hi, Michael. So what do you want to talk about?
I'm missing my favorite screener, by the way.
Who's that, Steph?
Stephanie, yeah.
Yeah,
and,
she has to check out early. She leaves at about 3 o'clock to go to her other shows, or her other job.
The thing is, I preempted you with I'm losing my appetite for our future 2013.
Okay.
I'm a 230 kind of guy, you know, and I'm down to 190.
And okay.
I smell cannibalism.
Okay.
I don't like it.
I think you're probably with the vast majority of people.
2013 could be really hard on us Americans.
I don't disagree. I mean, 2013, we have so many new taxes.
That drop from the top to the bottom.
Yeah, there's a word for this called tax-mageddon.
Yeah, another word is hungry. People like to eat.
You're right. This is going to be, people are thinking this economy will turn around. Well, it's not. And
people hungry year, huh?
Say again?
This is going to be a people hungry year.
Could be. There will certainly be
coming.
people hungry.
What do you think?
Yeah, I don't disagree with you.
I hope
I do too, but I don't disagree with you. If I were betting on it, I think that's how it's going to go.
I would rather declare war with China. What do you think?
No, that's ridiculous.
I'm game for it.
All right. Well, why don't you go do it and then leave the rest of us peace-loving people out of it?
Oh, I don't mean that kind of war. Just an economic...
Well, what do you mean? War means something very specific, typically. If, you have a conversation, you use the word war, the other person's going to understand it a certain way. What do you mean, then?
Peaceful resolution, of course.
Oh, well, that's great. I agree with you there, too, then.
But our deficit mainly belongs to China.
That's actually not true. You're close, though. They're number 2.
Okay.
It's not the deficit, it's actually the debt. The deficit's just the difference between income and outlays. The debt, though, is number 1 is actually the Federal Reserve. And intergovernmental agencies. They own most of the debt. China's second.
We're already feeding on ourselves.
Well, I don't know. I don't consider the Federal Reserve a part of us, and here's my case why. If the Federal Reserve was indeed concerned with the welfare of the United States, with this debt ceiling disaster, all that kind of stuff, the Federal Reserve would just simply have to write down the debt that is owed to it. But they're not about to do that.
You know, Geithner, he should be sent to a mental institution, and Bernanke, he should be put on a pedestal of maybe we should make him president and give him a disadvantage.
No, here's what I would suggest. Let's not put Geithner in a mental institution because I think he deserves prison. I think he's a fully rational being and should be responsible. And I think next to him in the next cell, perhaps cellmates would go Bernanke. He should not be president. No.
Bernanke has ultimate power over us at this time. If we made him president, he would be on display as...
No. Bernanke, you know who Bernanke is? Bernanke is Ronald McDonald to McDonald's. He's the face.
Obama, yeah.
No.
Exactly.
Listen, Mike, no, you're not listening. What I'm saying is that Bernanke is the face of the Federal Reserve. He's not the owner. Who owns the Federal Reserve? Banks.
Yeah.
Banks own the Federal Reserve, the member banks. Remember that.
On those heads.
All right, Mike. Hey, anything else you want to add, buddy?
Yeah.
I'm getting drowsy just listening to your conversation, bud. You okay?
Yes, so am I, because those heads are obscure, to say the least.
Indeed. Anything else to add, buddy?
Have a good one.
All right, be safe, my friend. Don't be a stranger. Maybe switch to caffeinated. I don't know. Hope you're okay. The call-in number, 801-254-5855. Some other stuff in the news. Okay, I'm going to venture into some weird fringe stuff that I don't normally talk about. Have you heard about this this idea? Okay, here is a conspiracy theory. I don't know. And I'm taking a sharp departure from the normal content of the show dealing with finance, economics, and conspiracy evidence, iatrogenic death, psychiatry, liberty. I'm going to take a departure because I want to talk about real conspiracy theory for a second. Do you think the moon landing was faked? I mean, honestly, this is one of those things that does push you to challenge yourself. If you really push yourself on this and just stop with the, I don't know, that's wacko, and let me get back to thinking about my favorite football team or whatever. There's actually kind of compelling evidence, I think, on the conspiracy site. Do you think it was faked? I saw they have one of those like reality shows, or I don't know what you call them anymore. They're a dime a dozen on cable TV. I think it's called Fact or Faked. And it's this investigation team that they film, and these are people with like performance backgrounds, science backgrounds, law backgrounds, blah, blah, blah. These random people, these quote-unquote experts, I don't know, whatever. They put them together. And they did a show on the moon landing to see if it was faked. And it certainly could have been. They were actually quite shocked. And there are a number of anomalies that are sort of unexplained. I don't know. I find it very weird. The weirdest thing about this thing is if you type in to your favorite search engine, moon landing hoax, and then 2001, A Space Odyssey. The movie, the guy who put them all together. If you type that in, Stanley Kubrick, who is, by the way, my favorite director of all time. If you type in moon landing, Kubrick, and The Shining, it'll freak you out. I'm not kidding you. I really was shocked at how much time I wasted on this, but let's go to the phones. Caller, you are on the air. I think your name is Paul. Hi, Paul.
How are you today?
Hanging in there, Paul. What's going on, man?
I'm almost 100% certain we went to the moon.
Okay, but you weren't there, so that would be 100% certainty. You were there. You stepped off. You're floating. It's crazy. One large step and all that, whatever. How do you know? Because I'm with you. I tend to fall on that side, but as I push myself a little bit to say, what do I really know? I wasn't there. There is a compelling case, I think, that we didn't. But what's your? Why do you think that almost 100% certainty we did?
Well, first of all, you know how many people worked on that project, and how I don't care how powerful you are, you can't keep that many people quiet. Somebody would have come out by now and said, you know what, we really didn't go to the moon.
Hey, Paul, but people thought pro wrestling was real until the 80s, until they came out with it. Not all the people, just a few people. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying it's not like, and at the same time, there's plenty of good people in Nazi Germany, and yet they elected Hitler. So I don't discount numbers of large people and how stupid they can be.
No, I'm not saying the population. I'm saying the people that worked on sending that rocket to the moon.
Yeah.
They actually worked on the project.
So that's what gives you 100% certainty.
Well, no, not just that. But when I was in college, we shot a laser up to the moon and bounced it off a mirror that our astronauts had precisely placed there just so we could shoot a laser from here to there and have it bounce back so we could measure the Earth's wobble. And there's no explanation for how that got there unless it was placed there by a human being.
Well, we just sent like a robot to Mars. I mean, we could certainly send a robot to the moon to do that.
This mirror weighs twice as much as that robot.
Well, then how can one man do that? I mean, I guess the gravity's less.
There wasn't one man there. There was a couple men.
So they lifted it personally or something.
Yeah, but that robot that they sent to Mars, what does it weigh, like 140 pounds, something like that?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is that there's these weird things like when you look at the fact that, these pictures that came back from the Mars landing, under the lander, there's no disturbance of the dirt or anything like that because, the thrusters would still disturb that. I mean, there's these weird things like that. These weird issues with the shadows being kind of weird that would only be able to be done on a set.
Yeah, but that's got to do with the albedo of the moon, which is way different than the Earth, so it's going to look different than if the light was reflecting off the Earth's surface at that close range. But my main thing is there are so many people that actually worked on that project that sent that rocket there that even if there was just a handful, which whether there was, hundreds that worked on it, somebody by now would have come out and said, we really didn't go. It was all a hoax. You know what I'm saying? You're a studier of human.
I'm with you, but I also see how we did the Tuskegee experiment and injected innocent men with syphilis just to see what would happen. Well, not we, our government, and that it never confirmed it until years later. There was people buzzing about it and asking and talking and people like the conspiracy theorists saying, that really happened, and other people until it was finally admitted. So, I don't know. I am not taking a position. I kind of wanted to go there because so many people are fascinated with conspiracy theories and this kind of stuff. And this one actually kind of bugs me. I still think that we went, but there's some weird stuff about it. It just doesn't seem to add up.
All right. Well, you have a great day.
All right, buddy. I appreciate the call, Paul. You're right. I mean, maybe it is impossible for a large number of people or whatever, but I also think they all could have been duped. They don't necessarily know that they weren't working on something real. They didn't go either. Elaine, are you there?
Okay, you're ruining my day. I've been looking for the Loch Ness Monster and Bigfoot. You know how long?
How long have you been looking, Elaine?
A long time, and I still ain't found the sucker. Sorry, I have a sense of humor. I just couldn't help myself.
Yeah, I mean, look, I like to take it light sometimes. I'm so much ragging on, Geithner and Bernanke and those guys.
Now,
I wanted to take
I'll tell you what I just seen on TV. That's a conspiracy.
Yeah.
I've seen the Governor Herbert on TV.
Okay.
Yes, and he's with Newt Gingrich, and he's talking about the state of Utah and what a great place this is. It is a great place. But I don't like Gary Herbert. I'm sorry.
Okay, so where's the conspiracy?
Well,
you just used that as an excuse to kvetch about Gary Herbert, didn't you, Elaine?
No.
It's okay. You can't.
No, I wouldn't. No, I would tell you that anyway. I don't need an excuse to call you.
That's true. You don't.
Would you ever
You're welcome.
know me to use
Anytime
an excuse
you
for
want to call,
anything?
Elaine, you're welcome to call. Anytime.
Huh?
Anytime you want to call, you're always welcome.
Yeah. No, but I mean, no, I just threw that in there, though. That he's on
I
TV.
agree.
But,
I won't be voting for him. That's for sure.
Anyway, I was going to say, I think that somebody went to the moon.
I'm kind of still with you, but I don't know.
And the reason why I say that because supposedly my husband was there or something like that. I don't know. It had something to do with when they went to the moon at NASA and stuff like that. And he brought me back some stuff that when they landed on the moon.
What'd you get? A T-shirt that says "My husband went to the moon," and all I got was this lousy T-shirt?
No, I got a picture.
You got what?
A picture.
Oh, cool.
So.
All right. Well, I appreciate the call, Elaine.
Yeah, but anyway, so hey, one thing I like about you got a sense of humor, and you have a good show.
Thank you. Yeah, you got to have a sense of humor. I mean, in these kind of situations, it's like, what else are you going to do? Sometimes you just got to laugh.
Yeah, you got. Yeah. Keep your sense of humor and keep laughing.
All right, Elaine. I appreciate the call.
All right.
Okay. Bye. I found this article over at LouRockwell.com, which is a controversial site, nonetheless. Not where I normally get my news, but I just happened to read this and found it interesting. Right here, a particular segment that I thought was interesting. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Humor me. Quote, abundant evidence proves NASA never pulled off the moon landings back in the slide rule days of the 1960s. The biggest obstacle remains the lethal radiation unprotected astronauts must encounter above low Earth orbit from 3 sources: the Van Allen radiation belts, galactic cosmic rays, and solar particle events, a.k.a. sun flares. Radiation makes manned deep space travel impossible to this day. Dr. James Van Allen, credited with discovery of the radiation belts, knew it full well, and in 1970 courageously supported U.S. Senator William Proxmire, Democrat from Wisconsin, and 3 other senators in their attempt to eliminate NASA's manned space flight program. Anyway, go through and give some stuff. This is an article by Morgan Reynolds. I guess there's a book out called Dark Moon by Mary Bennett and some other people going through this book. Mary Bennett and David S. Percy, called Dark Moon, Apollo and the Whistleblowers. Interesting. I might have to read it. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm going to have to maybe go there. I hope I don't become one of the moon landing hoax people. But like I said, there's these things from The Shining, which is one of my favorite movies from Stanley Kubrick. And maybe after the break, we'll get into it a little bit. It is compelling. Again, it's not proof, it's just a story. All right, guys, come on back. Mental Self-Defense Radio, K-Talk, the voice of Utah.
Politicians may try to convince you that they can create jobs, but the cold fact is that politicians don't create jobs. Entrepreneurs do. Are you barely surviving in this economy but want to learn how to thrive in this economy? Are you tired of the rat race and burn with the desire to be your own boss? We've all heard the parable that if you give a man a fish, you'll feed him for a day. But if you teach that man to fish, you'll feed him for a lifetime. Are you ready to learn how to fish? Join proven entrepreneur, best-selling author, and host of Mental Self-Defense Radio, Jake Shannon, at the upcoming weekend Bootstrap Entrepreneurship Training right here in Salt Lake City. This Bootstrap Entrepreneurship Bootcamp is strictly limited to only 15 participants and is offered on a first-come, first-served basis. Learn more now at www.entrepreneurship.jakeshannon.com. That's entrepreneurship.jakeshannon.com. entrepreneurship.jakeshannon.com.
If you have been diagnosed with obstructive sleep apnea and are wearing a CPAP mask, are you among the 75% of CPAP users who cannot tolerate it? Does it make you feel strapped down, interrupt your sleep, causing tooth-related problems? Does it make you feel claustrophobic and you unconsciously remove it during the night? Call Dr. Miles Preble for a comfortable alternate treatment at 801-278-4787. That's 801-278-4787 or online at smileutah.com.
Gung Ho increases memory storage and recall.
Gung Ho, when taken at suggested doses, will improve memory, storage, and recall. Gung Ho could be called a brain nutrient because it increases levels of several important neurotransmitters. Improve your memory. Go to k-talk.com and click on Gung Ho.
Leader, like, focus. The voice of Utah. AM 630 K-Talk.
K-Talk.com.
Number 1 for the most live, local, two-way talk.
Hello, it's me. All right, guys, welcome back. Mental Self-Defense Radio. I am Jake. Who are you? Let's go to the phones. 801-254-5855. You want to get in on the conversation. Caller, yes, what's your name?
Hi, this is Lynn.
Hi, Lynn. So what do you want to say?
I was in L.A. at the time of the supposed moon landing.
Yep.
The talk was then, of course, that it was probably done at Paramount's back lot, one of the back lots of the studios.
Yeah, see, this is the thing. It's not so crazy, is it, to consider that this is a fake?
Oh, no, I heard a lot about it. And I definitely agree, because I looked and studied the shadows. Being an artist, I noticed the shadows, and you can tell there are 2 or 3 of them were not in sync with how they should have been. If it had been, they only had one source of light, I definitely think 100% was definitely not a moon landing.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Okay, Lynn, I appreciate it. I got another caller. Yeah, I think that I think this is compelling. We don't have a smoking gun, and so whatever. Makes for interesting conversation. Ed, you're on the air.
A couple of things, Jake. I debated Richard Hoagland from CBS right here on K-Talk back in '99 on the Scott Lindsley show, and in some ways it wasn't that tough to put him in his place. Yes, the moonwalk was fake. It just was. I mean, I don't want to get into all that now. There, like the lady said, the shadows didn't match up.
Okay, well, and hurry only because I've got another caller I just want to get on.
Okay, but I called you. I said I'd get back to you on the shooter in Aurora.
Yeah, what do you got?
Well, Victor Thorne, did you check out blacklistednews.com?
I did. Yeah, kind of a weird site, hard to navigate, but I checked it out.
Okay, the Wayne Matson report was in there. But anyway, I'll be quick here. I mentioned that Victor Thorne might be having something coming out in American Free Press. He does. Current edition here, August 6th. There's 2 photos in there. They claim to be the same fella. Keep in mind, Jake, the shooter we didn't see. At no time did anybody see this guy that they're identifying.
Well, and this is a very important fact, that he was in full stormtrooper regalia with a gas mask. Nobody actually saw James Holmes do this.
Right. They saw him prop the door open. Why? After a cell phone call, 2 witnesses, one told Denver Channel 9 News, the other one is named, these 2 witnesses. We have a situation going here, and your early suspicions were right, and maybe Victor Thorne is supposed to be coming on Tim's show. Maybe he'll come on yours and talk about this.
Okay, well, definitely Tim and I share the same producer, so just get in touch.
Steph.
I appreciate it, Ed.
Thanks.
All right, buddy. Certainly, the thing that drives me the most nuts about the Batman thing is the multiple eyewitness accounts that all are pointing to the fact that there was not a lone gunman. So, again, we just got to go where the data goes, where the information is. I found an interesting article that really captures almost exactly my feel about this. This is over at Discovery.com, a favorite website of mine. When I was a kid, my parents, they gave me comic books, but my dad also gave me subscriptions, and I'm talking like I'm like 7, 8 years old, to Discover Magazine and to Omni, and I think it really influenced me in a bigger way than I ever thought. Anyway, Discovery Magazine, this is from January 21st, 2010, Faked Moon Landings and Kubrick's The Shining, analysis by Robert Lamb. Great article because it really captures it for me. And it says, everyone at Discovery Space loves a good space conspiracy theory. From Ray Villard's awesome post about NASA airbrushing out moon cities to Ian's weekly battle against whatever the latest cosmic doomsday craze happens to be. We all know these theories are so much bunk, but we can't look away. To quote John Hodgman, truth is stranger than fiction, but never as strange as lies. We love strange things, and the following conspiracy theory is one of the strangest yet oddly compelling ones I've ever heard. Are you ready? Now, I agree with that 100%. I don't, but it really is compelling when you know The Shining and know Kubrick as well as I do. I'm obsessed with Stanley Kubrick. I love every single movie. I mean, I'm talking going back to Barry Lyndon. I mean, I love Stanley Kubrick. Anyway, the U.S. government hired, this is the theory, this is reading again from Robert Lamb's article, Faked Moon Landings and Kubrick's The Shining over Discovery News. Continuing, the U.S. government hired director Stanley Kubrick to film the fake moon landing, and to protect the lives of himself and his wife, he made the 1980s The Shining, which is actually, I think, 1979, as a veiled confession of his part in the secret project. This would have seen Kubrick filming the landing conjointly with 2001: A Space Odyssey. That's the argument Internet conspiracy theorist Jay Wiedner makes on his webpage, Secrets of The Shining. Yes, all the New Age advertisements, Egyptian fonts, and Alex Gray illustrations along the rail make this a very hard sell on the discerning reader, but the whole theory, like the best of them, is strangely fascinating. Wiedner grasps onto various bits of imagery in the film and deviations from Stephen King's novel as Kubrick revealing his secrets to the unsuspecting audience. The basic premise is that in the film, the protagonist, Jack Torrance, and his son, Danny, both represent different aspects of Kubrick, the pragmatist and the artistic visionary. Jack, Kubrick's practical side, makes a deal with the manager of the Overlook Hotel, America, to protect it through the coming winter, the Cold War. Wiedner also points out that the Overlook, like America, is new, garish, and built on the bones of Indians. All this builds on the notion that the moon landings were faked as a show of strength to the Soviet Union. But Wiedner waves his crackpot flag a little more fervently by stating it was all necessary to hide advanced U.S. saucer technology from the Soviet Union. Consider the following evidence. Room 237. This is in the movie, so this isn't real evidence. This is just... anyway, room 237. In King's novel, the haunted room is number 217. In the movie, it's 237. Why? Because the average distance from the Earth to the moon is 237,000 miles. It's actually 857 miles, but close enough, right? Wiedner proposes that the haunted room represents the filming of the fake moon landing itself. It's just like picturing it isn't real. That's a quote from the film. The twins in the movie The Shining. You probably remember the creepy twins, the slain children of the previous overlooked caretaker. In King's novel, however, there was only one slain child. Wiedner insists that Kubrick's alteration is a nod to NASA's previous Gemini. Get it? Twins program. Given the genuinely creepy nature of this scene, you might not have noticed that Danny is in fact wearing an Apollo 11 sweater. It's easy to get caught up on that last little factoid. And they actually have like a screen grab of him wearing the Apollo 11 sweater. Okay, going on. The bears. The film features a large number of stuffed bears, and in one disturbing scene, Danny witnesses a man cavorting in a hotel room with a stranger in a horrifying bear suit. Sheer nightmare juice, the author says. Following the conspiracy argument in all these bears, naturally, these bears represent the looming Soviet Union, the Soviet threat. Okay, the typewriter. In one scene, the film reveals that Jack has been typing, "All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy," over and over again. In one of Wiedner's more far-fetched moments, he proposes that all should actually be read A11 for Apollo 11. So, Apollo 11 work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. And the dead guy. In Stephen King's novel, Danny sends a psychic distress signal to the hotel's elderly black chef, Dick Halloran. And Halloran lives to escape the Overlook with the child and his mother. In the movie, however, the Overlook uses Jack to kill Halloran pretty much the second he arrives on scene to save everyone. The reason for this alteration? Wiedner insists that Kubrick wanted to tell the world that he had naively tried to tip somebody off about his role in the moon landing hoax. That is because he was conjointly filming 2001: A Space Odyssey, and that he used the technology in 2001 to help with the hoax. Anyway, Wiedner insists that Kubrick wanted to tell the world that he had naively tried to tip someone off about his role in the moon landing hoax, and his doing so resulted in their murder. Worried for his own life and that of his wife, Kubrick had to reveal the secret both widely and clandestinely, to protect himself. So there you have it. Are you won over by all of this? And if so, do you agree that The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension actually reveals the secrets of the Kennedy assassination? Either way, I'll never view this film in the same way. It is compelling. It drives you crazy. It's one of those things that gets in your head like a song that you can't stop. All right, I wanted to get to some real news. That's just fun. I don't know. I'm really not interested. It's just fun. But back to real stuff, real things that are actually conspiracies, but perhaps there's a lot of evidence. And as such, you can dismiss any conspiracy theory, in my estimation, and that's a great thing. But don't dismiss conspiracy evidence. And this over at worldtruth.tv, article, pharmaceutical drugs are 62,000 times more likely to kill you than supplements. UK-based international campaign group, the Alliance for Natural Health International, recently revealed data showing that compared to supplements, an individual is around 900 times more likely to die from food poisoning, nearly 300,000 times more likely to die from a preventable medical injury, including during a UK hospital stay. Hooray, socialized medicine. Additionally, the data shows adverse reactions to pharmaceutical drugs are 62,000 times more likely to kill, and 7,750 times more likely to kill you than herbal remedies. So, big pharma. That's a conspiracy that's not on your news. Anyway, let's go to the phones. Caller, you're on the air. What's your name?
David.
Hi, David. What's up?
Okay, the very first fact that we must consider regarding landing on the moon or not.
Oh, no, you're still going there. Okay, what?
Yeah, the very first fact is the government lies.
Well, you're right on that.
They lie and they lie and they lie. Just ask the American Indians. They signed 400 contracts with them, treaties, and they lied about every damn one of them. So, You know, we've got plenty of evidence that they lie, so why should we believe them about this?
No, you're right about that. I agree with you 100%. That's why I entertain these kind of things, because we don't know. I wasn't there. You weren't there. We don't know. And just because it's on TV and people tell us, you know what, people, so is Santa Claus. Santa Claus is on TV, and people tell us he's real. Sorry, he's not.
That's all for now.
I appreciate it. That's a very good point. I certainly don't believe the official story of bin Laden's death. I really don't. It's impossible. The story is that they killed him and then buried him at sea an hour later, so there's no evidence. And yet, where he was killed is as far from the ocean as Chicago. Can you get to the ocean from Chicago in an hour? I'm sorry, you can't. Maybe if you're already in a pre-launch space shuttle, you might. You can't do it. And then the SEAL team that supposedly was part of that, all of them die except one guy in a helicopter crash like a month later. I don't know. My friend Mark sent over this clip about the Mythbusters talking about the angles of the moon landing light sources and stuff like that. Let's give this a listen here. See if this sheds any light. Pardon the pun, please.
Cover-up in human history.
Oh, yeah, perfect. Growl like a tiger. Mew like a kitten. Guess what our first myth is?
Still photography?
Yes. Most of the alleged evidence that NASA faked the moon landings comes from NASA's own photography, which theorists claim shows clear evidence the moon landing was faked in the studio and could not have been filmed on the moon.
Say hoax.
Hoax!
So these are the photos the guys will focus on. According to Apollo hoax advocates, this shot was taken in a studio because the shadows are not parallel. Supposedly, that's something that could only happen with multiple light sources. Then there's this image of an artfully lit astronaut. Conspiracy cheerleaders claim if he really was standing in the shadow of the moon module, you wouldn't be able to see him so clearly.
You know what? Let's do parallel shadows first.
How do you want to...
So anyway, they go through and replicate it, but showing how this possibly could have worked. But, you know, it's funny because Elaine talks about Loch Ness Monster and Bigfoot, and there's tons of hoaxes out there. So why all of a sudden, somebody you know that lies to you all the time, the government, why would you... Why couldn't it be a hoax? I don't know. I'm staying agnostic on that one. I don't have a clue. I don't have enough data points. I just find it weird, mostly because of my obsession with Stanley Kubrick. And I know that movie very well, and that totally creeps me out that because there are these weird allusions and metaphors that are very apt if you take this particular view. All right, guys, we're wrapping up today. One heck of a show. I was thrilled to have one of my biggest heroes, again, I tried to wake people up to him in 2010 with the release of my Teocon book. He's in that, his work, recommended reading. Dr. Gene Sharp, please, if you missed that interview, the guy is a legend in peaceful resistance. Go back. The guy's 84 years old. I'm thrilled I got him had a talk with him. Go to the archives, k-talk.com. Go download it, listen to it. And I'll check you guys on Monday. Be safe.
Are you ready for some fun? It's time to get out and play. Grab your kids, grandkids, and the kid in you. Experience the fun of radio-controlled cars, trucks, boats, and helicopters. Visit www.primehobbies.com, your online hobby store. We only stock name brand products, Traxxas radio-controlled cars and trucks, HPI Racing, Align Helicopters, Team Associated, and Quest Aerospace. If you're tired of buying and buying and buying the discount store junk, stop by primehobbies.com and purchase a vehicle that will last for years with parts support to keep you up and running. Let Prime Hobbies be your #1 trusted online hobby superstore. For fun delivered right to your door, go to primehobbies.com. That's www.primehobbies.com. Let the fun begin. www.primehobbies.com.
Wake up without yuck in your lungs or the dark cloud of lung cancer or heart disease